What's up, Tiger fans? It's Morgan here, and I wanted to get on this Sunday afternoon. I am actually trying out a new system and kind of sitting from the couch. Nothing too serious today, but did want to discuss some of the reactions from the game, um, from the game last last night. Just something not as not as big of a production, I guess, is what we'll say. But I'm trying a new microphone. I don't know if how it sounds. Let me know how the audio sounds. Obviously, Clemson finished last night with a loss against Georgia, one that I did not expect. I originally predicted 49-28 in my Clemson fandom. I think that is for sure. And me being a fan, me being a super fan, if you will. Obviously neither team scored. Georgia didn't score 28, and Clemson sure would not score. Was not going to score 49. I really, the way I originally based it was, I mean, Florida and Georgia went toe to toe last year, and pretty similar teams. I think, obviously the same offensive coordinator, same game plan. I felt like Kyle Trask had a tight end, and I felt like Clemson had more weapons. And I felt like you could rely on DJ based on his previous experience for the last two games. But obviously that wasn't the case. So it definitely is a surprise. SCU gets in, says a huge surprise for him. He's never been, he said, I've never been more surprised. Yeah, I don't know. I'm using my iPhone this time around. I'm not on the computer. I'm just kind of sitting on my iPhone talking. But get in the comments. Let me know what you think. Get your emotional outbursts, your frustrations out. Let's talk it through. A lot to kind of digest from last night. I didn't want to do a video immediately last night because I'm one of those fans you probably don't want to hear from immediately after a game, just because of the fact that I was disappointed. It was not a good result for the Tigers. So let's see if I can click. Okay, yeah, I can click. I'm like I said, I'm trying to do this from the mobile app. I've never done the mobile app as a live stream event. So, let's take a look at. I wish I need to get my phone, but my other phone. But if you look at the overall results for the team, I think coming out initially, you could tell it was going to be a defensive battle. And I think we all kind of anticipated that being a game between the two strongest defenses. I did not expect Clemson's offense to basically not show up at all. And so I was extremely disappointed to see some of the 3-and-outs, the way they went. Again, I've had friends text me so far saying, how did Clemson only rush for 2 yards? And I mean, it sounds ridiculous to say they only rushed for 2 yards. They really rushed for, I think 20 or 34 yards, I think, which is still terrible. But if you include the sacks, then yeah, they only rushed for really 2 yards, which is a positive. And if you want to talk on the positive, DJU was All right. My picture has gone out. All right, there we go. There we go. Hopefully I'm back. My picture disappeared. But yeah, I'm thinking about through the game, and I'm thinking about, it was interesting to see the use of the running backs being rotated. They started out with, they didn't have Dixon because of team punishment, team violation of team rules. Who knows? He maybe not have showed up to meetings. I don't know. Who typically things like that. Who knows? But he initially saw Will Shipley, and Shipley seemed to get some things going a little bit, and then you could just tell the offensive line was going to have a very difficult time. Unfortunately, from a Clemson perspective, I think the offensive line has taken a step backwards, if not a few step backwards. And so that is a huge issue that I don't think is going to be fixed. Do I think in the team that what we saw is a team that's ready to win it out? You know, like we were saying, win it out. If they lose this game, no big deal, win it out. This team now has to go back and say, how are we going to prove that we have an offense? Because to this point, they have no offense. I mean, I don't even know what you want to call what they did last night, but it was not playing offense. I mean, most of the time was 3 and outs. Most of the time, if there was a receiver open, which there typically was not a receiver open, DJ did not throw it correctly. I'll be honest with you, the experiment with Justin Ross playing slot looked horrible. I put on Twitter, 0 out of 10 would not recommend to a friend. Justin Ross playing the slot position looked horrible. He was completely off. It's probably your best wide receiver, and he was completely off. Now, I'm saying best wide receiver based on somebody who we did before they had, neck surgery. So he may not be the best wide receiver. Maybe Joe Ngata is the best wide receiver. And in that case, talking a positive here, Joe Ngata had a great game. He had over 100 yards receiving, and had a great game. Felt like there was a connection there between him and DJ, but it was not enough. I mean, you can't just have one person move the ball. I think back to situational play, and I'm thinking, that when Balin Spector, who a lot of people, even on the Clemson side, give him a lot of flack for playing, not being the best linebacker, got a crucial turnover in an interception when Clemson needed it the most. And they were within field goal range when starting the drive. And took, I believe, 2 sacks and got them out of field goal range. And they literally could have ran the ball 3 times, or they could have kneeled the ball 3 times and still been within a chance of getting the game within 6, or excuse me, getting to 6 points, because it was 10-3. And there might have been another chance for them to get to 9. They might have been playing for field goals. Maybe don't try to force yourself to go all the way down the field. Play for field goals in a tough situation like that. Obviously, the defense is very difficult. Georgia's defense is better. They've got. Oh, excuse me, my Siri is thinking I'm talking to her, but I'm not. So Georgia's defense is really good. Clemson's defense is really good. I'm so proud of what the defense did for 4 quarters. I am shocked that they did not give up a garbage score at the end. A team that could have done anything, given up, did not give up. That defensive side of the ball, I don't know what you could say negative. I mean, the only score was a pick 6. So again, DJ was the one who threw that ball. There was no passing game. Do you remember anything from any receivers of note from Georgia? No. There was really no passing game. Now, they did get some things rolling with their running game to the outside, But when they got closer to the red zone, it locked down. And so extremely proud of the defense. Miles Murphy showed out. Brzee showed out. Hey, Trey Williams, number 8. I really enjoyed seeing him out on the field in replacement of Tyler Davis. So a lot of good things on defense. Andrew Makuba in replacement of Nolan Turner. No drop-off, in my opinion. No drop-off. Andrew Booth did great. To be honest with you, the pass interference on Sheridan Jones they were both grabbing each other. I don't understand that. But, they called it. All right, let's go through some comments here. Got a ton of people in. Get your comments in. Get your emotional outbursts out now. Okay, so WBDX. At first look, this team couldn't even beat Pickens Junior High if they were spotted 15 points. Let's hope they grow up fast. Obviously I don't agree with that. I mean, we don't know how this team is going to perform against ACC opponents. We know that Georgia is a top 5 team, and it's not because they were ranked top 5. We know that Georgia, I have been telling you this since day one. If you look at their roster, Georgia has no excuse not to run the table. So there really should be no disappointment. And again, remember what Dabo Swinney said, and I agree with. They walked away with from a top 5 game at a neutral site, 10-3, a baseball game, a 1-score game. They had a chance to tie the game on the 50-yard line with 6.5 minutes to go. So can they beat Pickens Junior High? Yes, they can. Let's get off that. That's a little bit too aggressive there, WB2DX. I feel you. I'm a fan. Obviously, I'm a graduate. You can see up there. I get it. But I think that's a little too much. Not enough credit. There's going to be not very many teams out there that are even going to be able to score any points on this defense, to be honest with you. Nobody's going to be able to run on this defense. Nobody's going to really be able to run on Georgia's defense, to be honest. Georgia's defense is good, is elite. Clemson's defense is elite. You don't get to see that very much in today's world. And that's kind of what's a little bit scary, is that in today's world, you've got to be able to outscore the other team. You've got to be able to put up points on the board. And to be honest, neither team can do that. Now, Clemson's team definitely can't do that right now. Georgia's team seemed to have some sort of identity in running the ball. But Clemson-Carson, miserable game to watch last night. Yeah, it was frustrating. On the defense, no, it was not. 50-50. It was frustrating on the defense, or frustrating on the offense to watch, for sure. Of course, Bockhorst had to show up as far as, Bockhorst had to be the center. Clemson's offensive line is not enough for them to win a national championship. It's not really good enough for a pocket passer. And to get into that a little bit more, and I might talk about this on the radio show Thursday night, but, Kirk Herbstreit said, DJ just got to run. This offense is designed for a runner. The unfortunate thing is we just found out DJU is a pocket passer. His mentality is, I'm staying in the pocket. I'm not going to run. Now, before you could rely on Deshaun Watson, even if the call was a passing play, you could rely on Deshaun to make a play with his feet when there was nothing else, because he has that innate ability, that understanding to run the ball, and he has that physical ability. He's built that way. Trevor Lawrence, great basketball player. Deshaun Watson, I don't know if he played basketball, but I know Trevor Lawrence is a great basketball player too. Has that athletic ability to be a point guard. DJ may have that. We don't know. But what we have seen is that last year we were told he's not running because of his shoulder. This year, it can't be his shoulder because it's the first game. We don't have any injury on him. So we have to understand that he's a pocket passer between his ears. And so Elliott's going to have to say, we're going to have to force DJ to run the ball purposefully. Clemson's going to have to call plays to force DJ to run the ball. The one time that he ran behind, I believe, Dixon, he got like 7 yards. So it's possible. And that's a play that Deshaun ran. That's a play that Trevor Lawrence ran. But for whatever reason, was only ran one time. If you give DJ the opportunity to sit in the pocket or make a play with his feet, he's going to sit in the pocket. The problem that I have is this offensive line is not showing us that they can handle having a pocket passer. And I don't know if the playbook is that way either. I don't really know much about the playbook, but it doesn't seem that the quarterback that they have and the plays that are being run and the offensive line that they have are meshing right now. Maybe they're meshing in the practice field. It's a little bit concerning. They've got, again, in my opinion, this team has 11 games to prove to fans and to the nation and to other teams that they can play offense. Because right now, after that game, there's no proof. There's no proof. Toby says, sounds fine. Thanks, Toby, for getting in. WB says, a little grainy. It's a new mic. We'll see. SCU, I've never been more surprised. SCU, DJ had cement shoes. It goes back to, I don't know if it was necessarily he has cement shoes. Everybody says, well, he's 250 pounds. Why didn't he just pound the ball? But if it's not between your ears, that's what you have to do, you're not going to do it. Simple as that. If you're going to, again, there was plenty of times where he kind of scrambled. And as Kirk Herbstreit mentioned, scrambled, but with his eyes downfield, with no intention of running, no matter if there was 9 yards in front of him or not. Now, is he going to be able to take that back, look at that, and say, hey, dude, next time I need to look around? I mean, we all make these mistakes. Hey, I make mistakes at work. I know you do too. We make mistakes in life. It's not going to be his first or last mistake. And even his dad, Big Dave, mentioned, not a proud moment, but he's always proud of his son, but not a moment that he'd like to remember for his son. But not the best moment for his son. But again, definitely think that if we've seen anything from Clemson, we know they know what it takes to get to the national championship. We know they know what it takes to win the national championship. Georgia doesn't know that yet. Will they be able to do it this year? I don't know. On the flip side, for them, you have to be super confident with your defense. You have to be okay with your offense because we don't know. Toby, O-line could not handle the Georgia D. That's the difference in the ballgame. Well, you know what? 100%. Because everybody said it. Everybody knew that was what's going to happen. Bold prediction on Georgia's side was that they would get 4.5 sacks. That was a bold prediction. 7 sacks is inexcusable. I don't care how bad your offensive line is. 7 sacks on your quarterback is inexcusable. At that point, not only is it your offensive line's fault, but it is your play caller's fault. Why were there not designed rollouts? Why were there not designed short plays? Why did you abandon the run altogether? Why don't you try run plays? Why are you running traditional option plays to the short side of the field and not at least baiting the defensive end? Completely no reason to run a traditional option to the short side of the field. Anybody who plays Madden knows that. You don't do that. You're giving yourself no room and no way to succeed. Safe to say the NIL has reared its ugly head to our most important position into this game. The NIL has reared its ugly head into our most important position. Are you insinuating that DJ is not prepared or did not play well because he's sponsored by Bojangles? Or he is sponsored by Dr. Pepper. I haven't even seen any of his commercials. Maybe I've just missed them. I haven't seen, I mean, I've seen his social media posts. He did, I think, 1 or 2. I don't know how that could be a distraction unless he is, to me, if that's distraction, it would be on the level of like he's away from the team filming a movie, you know, like John Cena not wrestling because he's filming a movie. The Rock, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson not wrestling because he's filming a movie. So he's suffering in his original position, right? I don't see that. So Anu, I'm not following you there. I don't believe that is true. WB2DX. Although it's still early, we need to turn the program around. Our O-line is quite weak in the pass protection. Unfortunate part here is, how do you turn around an offensive line? This is the players you have. Now, these players may be very great in their interconference battles because this is a top defense in the nation. And nobody was going to stop that big defensive tackle. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. I normally have my computer up. I'm just on my phone. Very difficult. Very difficult. Can they improve their pass protection? Well, we've already seen 2 years in a row. Last year, at least they had good pass protection. But the concern now is Jordan McFadden, 6'2". Before I said, no big deal. It is a big deal against elite defensive lines. Everybody, weight-wise, has taken a step backwards as far as the group as a whole. They're not as big. They're not keeping up with what they had the previous year. Is that a problem? Maybe not in the regular season. Maybe not in the ACC championship game. But it is a problem against the elite teams. And a lot of fans will say, don't make too much out of nothing. And you shouldn't. You shouldn't. But don't make too much out of the first game. And you shouldn't. You really should. Just as I say, don't crown the Heisman Trophy winner. You don't crown that the program needs to be turned around. So there's part that's right. There needs to be an improvement in pass protection. How do you do that? I don't really know. I don't know. I'm not an offensive line genius, but it doesn't seem like whatever they're doing right now is working. As far as turning the program around, I don't think that is necessary. Carson, offensive line was about absolutely horrible. Sure, DJ held onto the ball too long, but they have to give him some protection. Yep, I think 50-50. There were times where DJ had an opportunity. You could tell he had an opportunity to throw the ball out of bounds. He probably will see this and beat himself up for it. You know, elite players don't just let things go. Players that want to make it to the NFL like DJ don't just let things go. They are going to be harping on their mistakes and trying to improve those mistakes and hopefully moving on from those. It's up to the player, though. But it is 50-50 shared responsibility. I think it's actually 30-30-30 or 33-33-33 because there is a situation where you see what's happening to your offensive line, what's happening to your quarterback. You should, as an offensive coordinator, never allow 7 sacks. I mean, at that point, I'm rolling DJ out every single time. He's going to lose 15 pounds in the game because I'm running him to death. You know, he's not going to be 250 after that game. If he, you know, I'm like, hey, DJ, you are going to be ran to death because if I don't, you're going to get sacked to death. I'd rather you roll out to the sideline. Now, again, Trevor Lawrence had that innate ability. He had that instinct. When the pocket collapsed, he rolled out. Even if he rolled out to his opposite throwing side, he could turn his body and throw it down the field 50 yards. DJ's not that guy. Not saying that in a negative way. We cannot hold him accountable to what Trevor did. We cannot hold him accountable to what Deshaun did, or even Taj did. He's not Taj. Just because he's a thicker quarterback we shouldn't automatically say he's Taj. He should run the ball. Can he? Yes, but we haven't seen that he will do that instinctively. Now, can he develop it? Yeah, anybody can develop something. But I think for the next couple of games, you're going to have to force him to run the ball. Not against SC State. I don't think SC State is the game to. I think SC State may be the game to work out some kinks with your wide receivers. I don't think it's to work out your kinks with running your quarterback. Too risky. But I would say when you start getting to the ACC, then it's time to do that. Now, it jumped down here. Hold on, let me see. So we got a lot of comments. Thank you so much, everybody, for getting in the comments. Again, loser support group. You know I do this when we lose because some people need to calm down. Some people need to express their opinions that are true. Was DJ hurt? I figured they would have used him more in the run game. No indication that he was hurt. Toby Humphreys, positive. By the way, that was Ryan Jolly. Toby Humphreys, positive. We got a good defense. Let me tell you something. Tim Beret put a post out, said if you hold every team in your schedule to 250-something yards, you're basically the best defense in the nation for the past decade, I think. So, of course, on the flip side, I retweeted this. On the flip side, if you hold your opponent to 2 rushing yards, you're going to be the best defense in probably the history of college football. So, not a good look for Clemson. Was DJ sacked 7 times? Yep. Serious issues on the O-line. Yep. I don't think the O-line even tried last night. It was pathetic. I think that's completely wrong, Clemson Carson. I think the more scary thing is that they did try. They did try. And I don't think anybody in orange is not giving their all. I think that, I think that I don't really know what you can do with the offensive line. I don't understand how a team that was so explosive gets the ball on the 50-yard line down 7 and can't move the ball. This DJ, we can't blame it all on DJ. We like to beat up DJ in social media. He put up big numbers against 2 teams. We know he can ball, but he doesn't have Jackson Carman anymore. He didn't have Cade Stewart as much as we complained about him. You lose 2 offensive line. What's more scary for me is that we're being sold this help is on the way when it comes to offensive line. It needs to be on the way. We need to put it on a. If it's on the way, it feels like it's on a train and it hadn't been boarded yet. If help is on the way with the offensive line, we need to take them off the train, put them on a one-way jet to Clemson. Meanwhile, 3-and-out Stout is sitting right by Tony Elliott last night. Strange. I thought that was 3-and-out Stout. Best game in his history was on his way out, by the way. 3-and-out Stout. I thought that was him. Looked very familiar. I did not know if he was on the team or not. Brian Bard, I needed this as therapy. We all need the therapy, man. Express your opinions. My boss always says, if you have any thoughts, concerns, emotional outbursts, say them now. Speak now. Free. You're not going to get beat up. I'll tell you if I think you're right or wrong, but I'm not going to beat you up over it. Gary Jones, extremely embarrassing offensive performance. By the way, I'm going to go through every comment as long as they're good. And I'm going to have my show. I have the show 105.5 and 97.5 The Roar in the upstate. If you're in the upstate of South Carolina, The Roar is letting me be on the radio for 1 hour, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m., right after Walt Deptula, right before the Jaguars coaches show on Thursday nights. And I'm going to have callers this coming week. Randy, the Georgia fan, was mad that I didn't have callers, but he misunderstood what my point was anyways. But either way, I will have callers this week. And I don't know if by Thursday I'm going to talk about this anymore. But the next game is not as important. Well, let me take that back. The next game is not as intense of a game. So I'm assuming Clemson will walk away as a win. Clemson fielded 2 different teams last night. Championship defense, D2 offensive scheme. I'm not going to knock it. It seemed like they tried different things. Let me just say this, and you'll probably hear me say this a few times over this season. We're still not Clemson. I don't want to say we in the critical way, because I'm saying we as a fan. I'm not saying we as I work for the team. But Clemson is not running routes behind the middle lineman or the middle umpire. That's the New England Patriot bread and butter, baby. Julian Edelman across the field setting a pick off the referee. Why does Clemson not run one guy across the middle of the field every single time? Ohio State ran a cross mesh on Clemson the entire game. LSU did it the entire game. Clemson refuses to do it. If you look down the field as DJ's getting sacked, you got 2 outside guys going deep or going to the outside, and one guy doing a little 5 and stop or a slant. In the one case, thought he was doing a slant. It was a pick 6. Nobody really doing these meshes. I don't understand why it's not in the game plan at all. And if it is in the game plan, you mean to tell me that it's on every single play that they get sacked? Again, the Justin Ross playing slot position, 0 for 10, would not recommend. At this point, I do not recommend that. Even Kirk Herbstreit said, Clemson is so used to having a shorter, faster, quicker, twitchy guy at slot. Hunter Renfrow, Amari Rogers, Adam Humphries type guys. Who's the other guy? I don't want to, Artavis Scott. Not Justin Ross. And they were not on the same page, man. Justin Ross and DJ, I think that was more upsetting, is that you have an entire summer, an entire fall, and you're not on the same page with any of your wide receivers other than Joe Ngata. At least they had Joe Ngata. I said Joe Ngata needed to step up, and he did. Hard to prove anything against SC State, Georgia Tech, because they suck so bad nobody will look good. Or anybody will look good. Yep. True. I think you have to use these next couple of games as a way to continue to build on some sort of identity. Walt Deptula was, and I, when I was on his show, we talked up the fact that Clemson has an identity, and as we knew of, Georgia did not have an identity, speaking of offense. Now, in one game, with completely been proven wrong, and Georgia, do they have an offense? We know they at least had a game plan. That one play worked to passes to number 19 to tight end, which we know always passes to tight ends work against Clemson. And the other game plan was to run it to the outside, which finally worked after wearing down the defense for 55 minutes. But yeah, I know that you're not going to prove anything, but you're going to prove anything inside the locker room. You might not prove anything nationally, SCU, but you're going to prove something inside the locker room if you start doing things positive. You're going to prove something with one player. And that's what's important. You have to prove to DJ that DJ is who we think he is, that DJ is who he thinks he is. So the next couple of games is getting him on page with the wide receivers, because he's not on the same page with them right now. Danny Vereen gets in. Bad play calling, looks exactly like the same play calling last year when they ended the season in the ball game. Can't deny that. I don't see much change. Different players, and that's the problem. Your quarterback is not Trevor Lawrence. Not saying he's bad, but he's not Trevor Lawrence. He's not a dual threat. Can you make him a dual threat? Maybe. Can you teach him the ways? Maybe. But even when he had to run himself, he did not look like Deshaun. He did not look like Trevor. He does not look like a running quarterback. And that's not a bad thing. If he's going to be a pocket passer, though, you're going to have to call rollouts because offensive line can't hold. At least against the elite teams. I hope you understand. We're talking about elite teams here. Not talking about Georgia Tech's. Tony Elliott needs to fix this crap. Whether it's LSU, Ohio State, or last night, Georgia, he changed nothing about his play calling. Same old vanilla stuff. Well, the good thing is the defense didn't run into a spread offense that actually has weapons and a quarterback that can run the ball. JT Daniels didn't really look that good either. Who did JT Daniels really hook up with on as far as a wide receiver goes? He didn't really look good. But I will say the defense played amazing. And if your team holds the other team to 3 points, why are you not winning? Number 3 team in the nation. I understand, guys. Ty Curtis gets in. Should have let Tyson have a few snaps. He's paid some dues too. Well, Ty, he's coming back from Achilles injury. I know they say he is available. He's not available. That's a 1-year recovery. The man tore it in April or February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. He's on month 7. Achilles is tough. Would you want to put somebody who's recovering from a major leg surgery out there who's against a team that's already sacked your quarterback 7 times? No. I get it though. Spark something, but really this team only has one quarterback. Makuba is a beast, 100%. You couldn't ask more from number 1. You couldn't ask more from somebody who has never played in a college game to take over for Nolan Turner against in a hostile environment against one of the best teams in the nation year in and year out and basically hold his own. And in the red zone, held his own multiple times. So Makuba, I'm going to make a post about Makuba. He deserves it. Coach V had a steal game. Too bad the offense did not show up. I'm guessing you meant stellar. Yeah, he had a stellar game. I mean, until the end, there seemed like there was nothing Georgia could call that would get them in the end zone. They couldn't throw the deep ball, which was really crazy. I mean, you got to think this Clemson team of the top 5 elite teams gives up the most deep balls statistically last year. No big giant chunk plays for scores for sure. Lynn J had 1 carrier. Okay, so Marcus Cameron. Lynn J had 1 carry for 10 yards. Why didn't they go back to them? And why was he out early in the game? Reports are that Lynn J was undergoing team discipline, team rules violation. Don't know if he didn't show up to a meeting on time, didn't do something that he was supposed to do at practice. Don't know what the issue is. It was a violation of team rules, and so he was taken out the first half. The second half, according to Tony Elliott in post-game interviews, was that it was C.J. Spiller's decision. Now, I got C.J. Spiller's jersey up here on my wall, so I respect him a million times over. He's still a young coach. He knows a lot more about the game than I ever would, and he knows a lot more about the locker room. So why did he only get 1 carry for 10 yards? I don't know. The 1 carry he had looked really good. But there's always going to be a question mark. You got to think for CJ himself being his first game, you got to think that in the same sense, is he going to be second guessing that decision as well? DJ has to use green grass when he sees it. That's the problem, SCU. I don't think he saw it. There were 2 or 3 times we all saw he had at least 9 yards in front of him. I don't think he saw it. Was it because deer in the headlights? He's played big games. I don't see how they could be deer in the headlights. He's played big games in high school. He's played big games in college already. He's come back from 18 down against Boston College. Deer in the headlights, I'm not believing it. But was he pass first? Yes. Even when he shouldn't have been? Yes. Danny Vereen, bad play calling. It looked like a lot of times when he got sacked, there was everybody was covered. Again, I don't understand why there's not two people running across the middle every single play, both going opposite directions. One of them at least trying to have their defender that's trailing them run into the referee. I'd be doing that all day. Heck, I would do a little. I would dance around that referee. I would spin around him, go back around. I'd do anything I could. My point being, I would run across the middle of the field, and I'd run across the middle of the field at about the 8-yard marker. It's really sad how bad Marcus Cameron. It's really sad how bad our O-line is. Offensive line, faced one of the best defensive fronts in the nation, if not the best. Tied 1A, 1B, Clemson, Georgia probably have two of the best defensive lines in the nation. The difference is that Georgia has multiple highly rated offensive linemen, big boys. And Clemson has one 5-star that's a true freshman that is not going to play. And the rest are undersized. And the guys that are above size seem to be not getting any playing time, seem to be not being able to make it to the starting lineup. Hunter Rayburn, huge size guy, not able to get to the starting lineup. Paul Chio, he was able to get out there a little bit. Marcus Tate was able to get out there, but he's a true freshman. Dietrich Pennington, huge guy. Where's he at? Get in the comments, get in the likes, get in the shares. We are here. This is your losers support group. I do it every year when we have a loss, when Clemson has a loss. Get your emotional outburst out now. DJ will learn to get rid of the ball and take it when he needs to. So my phone battery is dying. I'm going to need to get my charger here. I'm going to have to come back here in a second. DJ will learn to get rid of the ball and take it when he needs to. I think Clemson Carson, I like where you're going with that. I think what the team needs to do is force him to do it. I think they need to go 5 wide and pretend like he's going to pass the ball and then make him run. That's what they did with Lamar Jackson almost every other play. Louisville did. Spread him out 5 wide and tell DJ, pretend like you're going to throw the ball, then I want you to run it and try to find some space. I want to develop this confidence in you that you can take it and find some space. There's no confidence in his running ability right now. Todd Teal, fellas, ladies, gentlemen, time out here. Give me a few seconds. I'm gonna press pause. Let me get my charger here. All right. Oh, all right. The thing that stinks the most. Let me see if you can. Let me know if you can. Hopefully, you can still hear me. But the thing that stinks the most is I really want to watch Formula One right now, but this is really more important. So I haven't watched my Formula One yet, but I am doing this from the phone. Okay, I believe Todd Teal, I believe the main reason our offense couldn't get in rhythm is our offensive line. Yes, we need a lot of work on the offensive line, but give Georgia credit where credit is due. Their D-line is elite, big boys. Also, DJ did not stay glued, has to not stay glued to his first read and start checking down to his next receiver or tuck the ball and run. It's that simple. Really, I mean, there does not need to be a complete change of program. There does not need to be throwing out the playbook yet. I do think that there needs to be things added. And I will say, elite games like this where you lose, you start to think, is Clemson becoming more predictable? The fact that they can't run the ball is a predictability part, is being predictable, and I don't really like that at all. I don't want to be known as the team that can't run the ball, because obviously it's not working. You can't overcome that. Ty Curtis, he ran the fastest when he threw the pick six. Well, you know, when you're frustrated, when you're really frustrated, you get a little giddy up in your step, Ty. SCU, there was no pocket. There was a little bit of a pocket in some of these plays. He had an opportunity. He had opportunities. But I will say, you create a false pocket. Move it. Force him to roll out. Make him roll out. Design the play that way. How can you sit in a pocket that is not there? Again, not there. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's not there. That's for sure. All right. I just want to make sure the audio is working. It seems like it is. Y'all heard my F1 quip. So I'm going to scroll back where I was at here. Got like 1 million comments. I'm actually seeing comments on Facebook and YouTube. If you could help me out, please. You know how this stuff works. You got to smash the like button. Okay. We've come a long way, man. I did this show when right before Clemson beat Oklahoma in the playoffs. I had 3 guys watching me that were my friends from church. Toby Humphreys, who's in the chat, was one of them. And my camera was horrible. My microphone was horrible. And I got lights. I got nice camera. I got nice microphones. I got a co-host now, and I'm on the radio. So we come a long way. But any help I could get growing the channel, would really appreciate it. Just like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. That would mean a lot. And then share with your friends, you know. Kirk said the game was too fast for him. I mean, Notre Dame's defense was a top 25 defense last year. They were 25th, but and that was Ty. Deborah Husky Sigmund says pocket passer between the ears made me laugh. I mean, he is. I mean, right now, he's not a dual threat quarterback. I don't believe he was recruited as a dual threat quarterback. We want him to be Taj Boyd because he's a thick man. He's not Taj Boyd. You're going to have to design. I mean, in a sense, they had to design plays for Taj Boyd. Taj Boyd wasn't scrambling around like Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence is an elite player, a number 1 overall draft pick in the first round of the NFL. You can't have the same playbook. They're completely different players. You can't expect him to do. He's 250 pounds. DJ is not going to roll out to his left with his body twisted sideways and throw a 60-yard dart down the field, sprinting to the sideline. Not going to happen. And if he proves me wrong after watching this video, I would be elated. But I don't see it. DJ WB2, DJ needs to stop staring down his receivers. Trevor Lawrence started doing that later on in the year too. I don't know. To me, there's desperation mode, and we saw it. You get into desperation mode, you start doing that kind of stuff. Anu, the fact that we didn't make adjustments early in the game when it was clear he didn't want to run the football was beyond me. We could use the Wildcat in our offense if that's the case. Anu, 1,000%. If I could give you a gold star, I'd give you a gold star. The fact that the team saw, we all saw it. I saw it. I'm no genius. I am a graduate of Clemson University, so that means something. But we all saw it. My aunt, who's a Georgia fan, would say that just means that I'm a really good farmer, but I'm not really a good farmer. Not all Clemson grads are farmers, okay? But there was no play for a rollout. There was no play to adjust the pocket, to make a false pocket on the other side of the field, to force your big fat boy in the defensive line to maybe run a little bit further than 3 yards. Make big boy run. And again, make DJ run. Hey, DJ, you're going to hike this ball. We're going to sprint Ladson across the field. We're going to run Dixon right behind him. So you're going to have two guys right behind each other. 5-10 yards difference. But they're going to be right behind each other. They're going to sprint to the corner of the end zone as fast as possible across the field. What I want you to do is I want you to hike the ball. I want you to roll out to the right. Immediately roll out to the right. Don't even think about it. Just roll out to the right. Instantly, the two guys on the left-hand side of Georgia's defensive line are not in the play anymore. Now, you do have to worry about all their amazing linebackers. So I don't know if that would really work or not, but it was something different than just sitting there getting killed 7 times. Fran gets in. I hadn't seen Fran yet. Georgia seemed way more fired up. You could tell it in the stadium. I wasn't in the stadium. I can't say that. But if that's how you felt, that's how you felt. I know when I've gone to games, you can feel it. You can feel things. LeVar Young, no adjustments. Well, whatever Brent Venables does, he needs to teach it to somebody else. SCU, the coaching staff is fully aware of the issues, and I trust them to develop and work around our weaknesses. You can't say that you can't trust them. But what's starting to happen is saying that Clemson can hang because they beat Alabama. My daughter was 1 year old. She doesn't remember any of that. These high school freshmen don't remember any of that. Some of these high school seniors don't remember any of that. So, yeah, they've been to the playoffs every single year. That's good. But Paul Feinbaum, I know we hate to say this, but, he said, hey, it seems like there's they're slipping a little bit. That's a negative. I don't want to be negative. But a team that was competing with Alabama and then blowing out Alabama, that's a team of the past. That team's not this team on this field. They're going to have to adjust. He's protecting himself is what I mean, Morgan. Oh, you mean from the NIL? Okay. I'm sorry. I'm trying to go through in order so I can understand that. I can understand protecting yourself, but I mean, if you've already made the money, you've already made the money. It's not for he's not getting paid for performance necessarily. So okay. LeVar Young down in the red zone. Why not run him to get a score, at least to get the score closer or at least get closer to attempt to score. I don't understand why there wasn't a design run down there. I think they're probably beating themselves up for not doing that. Tiger Paw Craven, it's really time to start looking at the direction of our offense is going. Might be time to make a change. Well, Tiger Paw Craven, I'll say this in a positive note. They've got 11 games to prove that they can field an offense with this team. They've got 11 games to prove that their offensive line can improve. They can get 5 guys that are trustworthy. They've got 11 games to prove that DJ is more than just a pocket passer. They've got 11 games to prove that DJ can get on the same page with wide receivers. They've got a lot to prove in 11 games. Hey, the tight ends like Braden Galloway, he's got 11 games to prove that he can catch the ball. You know? I mean, a lot of people got a lot of things to prove. Is it time to make a change? I would say no. I would say because give them a chance to make the change. Give them a chance to make the adjustments. It wasn't a blowout. Again, Dabo Swinney said a 10-3 loss against one of the best teams in the nation. Not a bad thing. It's more than that, though. I know that. I know where you're coming from. It's more than that. Clemson Carson, the talent is there on the O-line. It comes down to coaching. Robbie Caldwell is not doing a good job, enough job coaching. I don't know all the ins and outs of an offensive line. I don't know all the ins and outs of of any of the positions, really. But so I can't speak on coaching. But it may be time to just put some freshmen up there that are big boys. I mean, to me, if it was me, this may be too simple, but you got to think the biggest guys out there are at least give them a shot. Are they really that bad in practice that the starters are what we received, what we experienced? I don't think that there's going to be a change. I don't think that I don't have confidence that this offensive line can become immediately better. It's going to take a slowed process of actual games. The Clemson offense gets to practice against Clemson defense. They should not have been surprised by Georgia's defense. I've been to some NFL practices, and they're not going 100% at each other. You don't want them to go 100% at each other. I don't know you can really use that, because you could say the same thing for Georgia. Why didn't they score any points and they go against one of the best defenses in the nation? What was their problem? You know, I think keep in mind the other team didn't score any touchdowns either. Is Todd Monken getting fired tomorrow? No. I mean, are they benching JT Daniels tomorrow? He didn't do nothing. Keep in mind, the other team was not successful. 250 yards. Now, Clemson was, if Georgia was unsuccessful, Clemson was 1,000% unsuccessful. It was 15 times more. So I get it. Fair comment. Moving away from, Evan says, he's a Georgia fan. This is Evan, of Georgia fan. Moving away from Clemson for a second, UGA was playing with backup wide receivers. We had no passing game. We really couldn't run on Clemson's defense. Clemson will still be around, and we will see the two teams play again in the playoffs. It's possible. It's not impossible. It's not impossible. I'm getting some posts here. Getting some stuff on Twitter. If you haven't ever followed me on Twitter at the Morgan T Show, I tweet some things. Probably not that interesting, but Clemson related. Yeah, I mean, Evan, I'll be honest with you. Your wide receiver core is banged up beyond all repair. I mean, everybody on Georgia's wide receiving core has a busted knee, busted ankle, busted shoulder. Everybody's bad. Had no passing game. Didn't have a running game till probably late in the game, really, after Clemson's defense kind of had to go all for nothing. Is Georgia over here saying, hey, we got to completely do everything all over again? I don't know. That's about all I've heard is he was a dual threat. One second. I don't have my phone. I mean, my phone is the camera, but one second. Let me look. Okay, so he was rated, man, my eyesight, 99, a .9949, a 5-star overall, number one in the nation, pro-style quarterback. Yeah, number one in the nation, pro-style quarterback, not a dual threat. And if they're going to have an offense that makes him be a dual threat quarterback, it's going to be a long season. He's not that. Now, can you force him to do run plays? Can you design rollouts and run plays and play action bootlegs, things like that? Yes. He's in between his ears is a pocket pass. He didn't read the defense fast enough. The defense was reading him too easily. Again, I think a lot of it is, I think I said, you can beat him up for that. You can really beat him up for that, but it's a shared blame to me, shared blame. Just some minced garlic. First and goal from the 5, you have a massive, powerful running quarterback, and you call passing plays. Elliott didn't help anything with those calls. He's not going to run on his own, at least right now. So you call quarterback run plays behind the running back, like they did Trevor Lawrence. Roger Long, my only question is, why didn't they try to roll him out more? 1,000%, Roger. 1,000%. Why didn't they try to roll him out more? I guarantee you this team is kicking themselves. This staff is kicking themselves for that. That seems like an easy fix. Does that mean you have to throw out the playbook? No. See, you guys, that's one thing we got to remember. We got to remember. Every suggestion that we're putting in this chat room, and I'm going to print out and I'm going to send to the football operations office. No, I'm not, but it'd be funny if I did. It would be funny to me, probably not to them. But every suggestion is a relatively easy and understandable adjustment. I don't understand why some adjustments weren't made on the field or in the locker room. But you've got 11 games to prove to the nation that you can adjust. If you can't do it, will they lose another game? They could always lose another game. I just want to see some improvement on the offense. I took my father-in-law and my daughter to the spring game, and I thought, this is a kind of a boring offensive game. They're just being vanilla. Were they? At what point, okay, Blakely Martin says, at what point do we start talking about replacing coaches? The offensive line has been downhill for 3 years now. You know what? No shame. No shame in thinking that. Do I think it's the right thing to do? As far as I have been alive, going to Clemson games, being an IPTAY member with my dad, offensive line has been a struggle for Clemson. Georgia lands them most of the time. Georgia's so close to Clemson that the proximity, the closest to your home, they seem to win those. So Clemson has to go to Ohio to get, they have to go to Virginia to get their 5 stars. They have to go to Florida to get their 5-star offensive linemen. I remember growing up, and the Fry brothers were the best offensive linemen Clemson had. And I'm not as old as some of you guys. You probably could say even older guys out there for these offensive linemen. Again, Blakely, I will say this. What I think the best approach is to say, you got 11 games. You got 11 games. And if it's really bad, you may not make it to Halloween. But you definitely got 11 games, at least on the schedule. Roger Long gets in. My question is, why didn't they roll out DJ Moore? The Georgia linebackers were just pinning their ears back and bull rushing. Roger that. Not sure if he has the heart like Taj, Watson, or Lawrence. It takes guts to run into the teeth of the defense like Georgia. Again, I think that is an unfair comparison. Taj is a big boy who liked to run, was comfortable. Watson was a skinny kid when I shook his hand the first time and he was 17 years old. Skinny kid. Taller than me, but skinny. He bulked up, and man, he was a good athlete, basketball player, football player, all around. Trevor Lawrence had every tool necessary and is a good pickup basketball player. I mean, you didn't want to play his team in intramurals. Trevor Lawrence is a good basketball player. He's an athlete. He's a freak. Watson, a freak. Now you're comparing DJ, who is starting his first year against 2 guys that are probably 2 of the best players in the NFL. And Taj, the catalyst for Clemson getting better players. It's difficult. It's like saying, well, C.J. Spiller did XYZ. Why isn't Lynn J. Dixon doing XYZ? C.J. Spiller was doing this. Why hasn't Will Shipley? Don't beat him up too much. Don't beat him up too much. Toby is wrong. We have a stellar defense. I don't get that. I thought Toby said that Clemson has a stellar defense. Maybe reread it. Josh Partridge. DJ needs to make them respect his running game by going through the giant holes he had when he was getting sacked. I think, again, you got to build on it. He's not there mentally to stop and run the ball. And so you got to build on it. You got to build on it by forcing him to run the ball until he starts to show that he's comfortable. I mean, and I'm saying that it's going to take 11 games, or he's going to have 11 games to prove it. I'm not even saying that. What if they would have forced him to run the ball behind the running back more than once? They did it once and it got 7 yards. But then they never did it again. And I don't even know if that was really designed. It was almost a little bit of looked like it was a handoff, and then it was botched or something. It didn't look perfect. But I would say, either you're going to have to adjust your playbook or you're going to have to teach him. LeVar, just some minced garlic. Exactly. He's a huge quarterback. We're down in the red zone. Run him at least to get one for a better attempt. Josh, we need a good running back tight end that can really give our O-line extra help. Help is definitely what the offensive line needs. Todd Teal, I've seen someone share earlier today that Dabo made an offer for some offensive line kid down in Texas. That would be hard to turn down. Does anyone know what kid it could be? I don't know. You know, we normally do more recruiting stuff in the off season. I haven't really looked at it because I've been preparing not only for the first radio show, but I was preparing for the Georgia game. By the way, again, you know, I started out on Facebook, so I have a Facebook page. That's The Morgan Thomas Show. If you're on Facebook, go check it out. Give it a follow. Share it with your friends. There's a button on Facebook that if you go to our page, there's a button that says invite friends. And every time somebody does that, I get like 100 new friends or 100 new followers on the page. So if you haven't done it already, go into the Facebook page, follow the page, like the page, and then hit that invite friends button. And maybe put a note, say, hey, this is a cool Clemson show, discussion, whatever. On YouTube, best thing you do, hit the like button and subscribe. Because I try to put out a new video at least once a week. We also do our live show every Thursday night, 7 p.m. on 105.5 The Roar and live on Facebook, YouTube. And it's on the Roar's Facebook page, my Facebook page, and my YouTube page. So 3 different online pages and live on 105.5 The Roar. And I'm going to have calls this week if you want to talk more about it. Tiger Paw Craven, why does it seem like we have been calling the same plays since the first Natty appearance? Well, it seems that way because you have the same exact head coach and you have the same exact offensive coordinator. And you are probably a diehard fan like me, and you watch every single game. You may even watch some of the good games twice. You may be, or even crazy like me, and watch some of the frustrating games twice, which I will be watching this Georgia game twice. And I don't know if it'll mess up my copyright, but I would like to watch it live with you guys. And just rewatch it and just go play by play. And just discuss play by play. But it is some fan bias there. You've already watched this team so much. You're so invested in the team. I know somebody mentioned one time, why does it seem like when I go to games, I know the plays? It's because you're that invested. It's because you love this team so much. And it may be some because they call the same plays. They go back to the well more often than they should, maybe. If a play gets you 7 yards, do it again. If the play gets you 7 yards, 2 out of 5 times, 2 out of 5 times, 3 out of 5 times, do it again. I'm not opposed to it. But when you have what happened last night, when you notice your quarterback is not clicking, your wide receivers are not jiving, it's a leadership responsibility to figure it out. Like have some sort of emergency response button. Warning, warning, warning. Number 5's not clicking. Warning, warning. Number 8 is clueless. There's got to be something. Deer in the headlights button. I don't know if he's deer in the headlights, but Krusty Buster. Love that name. Georgia was the best rival we had next to USC before 1992. It just stinks these young kids, I'm assuming, don't remember how great every game they have always been. Wish y'all knew how great this really was. It didn't feel very great. And I mean, I was there when Deshaun, played against Georgia. I was there when Sammy Watkins played against Georgia. I was there when, even Georgia had to take a peek, was there. I was not there when Herschel Walker played because I wasn't born yet. My dad was at that game. And to this day, he still talks about the fact that Herschel Walker has never scored in Death Valley. No Heisman Trophy winner has ever scored in Death Valley, according to what he's told me. Clemson Carson, I think one thing that nobody is mentioning, I think we're missing Jeff Scott more than we thought we would. I thought about that during the game, how much it must hurt to not have your offensive coordinator on the field with you, not have them down in the trenches, not have them feel the game with you as you're calling the plays. If you're going to call a game like that and not be on the field, that's a problem. Who is the eyes and ears on the field? Is it Tyler Gresham? Is it Dabo Swinney? Who is the guy that's feeling the game from an offensive perspective? Because Brent Venables is in, you might as well say Brent Venables is the 12th man. He's on the field, right? He's there. They should be developing Shipley for more slot snaps. Maybe that's one take back they take. Should they be doing it? Maybe so. Maybe that's a take back they take from this game. Maybe that's a learning moment. Everybody needs learning moments. I don't make every perfect thing at work. I'm not perfect on everything. I get coached. I get told I could do things better. I could manage things better. I could handle a relationship better with a client. I could not say a joke about something when I did. I get told that there's things for me to improve on, right? Maybe developing Will Shipley more is one of those things. Maybe moving him to the slot, at least temporarily. I don't know how I feel about a 6'4", 200-pound guy playing the slot position and also not being on the same page with the quarterback, because that was a recipe for disaster. Krusty Buster, they had DK coaching for Georgia. He knew everything that was coming. I don't think that mattered. No one's mentioning DK. I don't think it mattered on a defensive front because Clemson's defense is so last minute with their calls anyways. Even if you knew what was coming, you still got to stop them. And they can adjust at the last minute. It's very difficult to copy or cheat off of Clemson's defense. Now, on Clemson's offense, was DK smart enough to even care about, or not smart enough? I know he's smart, but was he attentive enough to care about what the Clemson's offense specifically was doing? For me, to be honest with you, I know you're not worried so much about your offense. If you're on defense, you're worried about the other team's offense. You're spending most of your days studying them. And up until the spring, he was expecting to play for Clemson. Was there a moment when he was ready to leave? He didn't leave under his own he didn't leave under his own request. So was he plotting it? I don't think so. Josh Partridge, Ladson and Ngata needed more targets. I mean, Ngata had over 100 yards. Really not much more you can ask there. Ladson could be a ploy guy. He could be a decoy kind of person, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I mean, I don't know if they really had any time to use Ladson's speed. So the other option was Justin Ross. Justin Ross and him were completely on opposite spectrums. They were in different time zones. They were in different countries. They might as well have been. So the other guy you have is Ngata, and he was there. John gets in, says, replies to Krusty Buster, didn't require much from DK. Everybody watching knew what was coming after a few possessions. Yeah, I don't even think DK really worried about it, to be honest with you. Again, when you're in that position, you're spending most of your time studying the other team. Josh Partridge, Trevor wasn't a runner year one. I'm going to check that. Okay, he went from 60 attempts to over 100 attempts in year one, from year one to year two. Only had about under 200 yards year one. So very true. Does that mean that there's no hope for DJ? At least in year one, maybe year two is the year that they figure out how to run in the offense. Krusty Buster, yeah, they knew the running was dead. Georgia played a great game. The running game was dead. Charles Marshall, Georgia was missing every key receiver. With them there, this would have been a blowout. I mean, can you say that? I don't know. Missed a chip shot field goal and took a mercy knee rather than score again. Can you say that? I don't know. I mean, football includes injuries. So say that all you want, but football includes injuries. I mean, Clemson was missing Tyler Davis and Nolan Turner. If you would have had those two guys, I will go ahead and tell you Clemson could have had 6 sacks and 2 interceptions. That's about as ridiculous as saying something would have been better with other people on the field. You don't know that. Missing every key receiver. They were missing 2 receivers. They had the rest of the team. Eric Gilbert wasn't on the team last year, so can you really count him? No. Darnell Washington is a tight end, but you obviously don't have any problems with your tight end position. So, I mean, there's only so many people that can catch the ball, one person at a time. Would have been a blowout? You don't know that. I mean, if Trevor Lawrence would have stayed one more year, I mean, there's so many what ifs. If Trevor and Travis would have stayed one more year, this game would have been completely different. You can't talk about players that weren't there. Just take the win. I'm assuming you're a Georgia fan, so just take the win. There could have been a blowout. There could have not have been a blowout. Missed a chip shot field goal. Hey, guess what? That's called playing the game. That's why it's not played on paper. Took a mercy knee. Oh, come on. The defense had been stopping you with no help from the offense for 60 minutes. At the point where you get to the game is over unless there's a turnover, the defense is at that point either 1, giving up, 2, completely gassed, or 3, not going for safe tackles. They're going for big hits. They're going for strips, which is not good tackles, or they're going for interceptions, which is not good coverage. So you can't say, oh, it was a mercy knee. Yeah, they could have scored at the end. They could have. But at that point, you can't say the defense was in it at that point. So you weren't getting the full effort after that. SCU, we got to change the launch point. Only answer. Clemson Carson. What's even more frustrating is still we underutilize the tight ends, have no idea how to use them. One time you throw to him, he drops the ball. So, I mean, Krusty Buster, I saw 2 defenses brawling. Where was Davis Allen, by the way, Clemson Carson? Krusty Buster, tight end showdown. I'm assuming you're talking about Georgia's tight end. Number 19 is Bowers, right? Serious. He's got some wheels on him. Krusty Buster says it was a great game and Move along. Great dogfight. I mean, that's all you really can do. Like Dabo Swinney says, you really only have 12 days to prove yourself. Everything else is practice. WB2DX says one quarterback just won't cut it. We need to rotate QB2 and 3 more often for the experience. I mean, I think you have no chance of winning big games with Hunter Helms. And Tyshawn is coming off a major leg injury. Major. Who else do you have? Will Taylor? He did actually get a snap. Do you think, Josh Parcher, do you think Kendrick was a factor exposing the schemes to the team? No. I think that as a defensive player, you're not worried about it when you're playing for that team. He wasn't expecting to get kicked off the team. And so I don't think he was planning on remembering everything. I think he forgot a lot of stuff. I think he moved on. And I think that at this level of elite teams, you have so much film. Film makes more. Krusty Buster, I miss Mike Jones. I mean, that game didn't make me miss Mike Jones any more or less than before. Josh Partridge, do you think Kendrick gave away too many of our team strategies? I don't think so. John Sarian, nothing about DJ looked sharp. Whatever it was caused steady bad decisions on his part and had to be psychological. At least we have been led to believe he's smart and committed. I mean, I don't think you can insult anybody's intelligence off of a 10-3 loss with a poor performance. Everybody has a poor performance in work and life and relationships on the field. I don't know if that means he's more or less smart than anybody else or committed. That's the one thing. Don't let it bleed into, don't let a loss or poor play bleed into heart discussions, bleed into commitment discussions, bleed into mental capacity discussions. I mean, because that's disrespectful. I think, and not that you're trying to be disrespectful. I don't think you are, but I'm not his professor. He's graduated high school, which is, he's not a terrible student. Everybody has to learn. But psychological, yeah, it did seem like it. And I don't think it was psychological from a bad point. I think that who he is and who the plays were designed for, it was almost like wrong. Didn't match up. WB2DX, we had a disconnect from his eyes and brain. His eyes saw and thought processes dropped out. Yeah, I don't know. Color of Gray, I like Coach Sweeney earning his check by being in the ref's ear and telling them Clemson's point of view at some of the penalties and calls. I think Coach Sweeney's always sticking up for his team. Nick says, "Woo, go Dogs." I'm not a dog hater. All right, I'm not a Georgia hater. My aunt went to Georgia. I love her. It means a lot to me, But I didn't go to Georgia myself, so. And at least when it comes to the football field, I want to beat everybody. So, not a Georgia hater. My daughter, on the other hand, she says, you shouldn't be disappointed, Dad, because just like every team, and just because every mascot's cute. And that is true. Maybe not every mascot is cute, though. I probably could find some ugly mascots. Color of Gray, the future is still bright. Might not be this year, but we have a good process for future success. I mean, again, I don't think you throw it all out. Krusty Buster, I hope we see y'all again in the end, Nick. Talking about Nick, the Georgia fan. Maybe so. There's a possibility. RJ Young said that he thinks that Clemson has a very slim chance now. They do. They're going to have. They got 11 games to prove that they're not this bad on offense, but they have a chance. I mean, they win the ACC, and they figure out their offense. They start clicking on all cylinders on offense. Let's just say, best case scenario, their offensive line figures it out, and they start clicking on all cylinders. Yes, they're going to have to fight they're in the ACC. It's easier. But you finish 12-1, it's going to be very difficult to keep out a team that only lost by 7 points and that has progressively shown improvement. If this team does not progressively show improvement, it's going to be difficult. Color of gray. While Morgan's gone, this must be while I was looking for something. I'll start the chant. Go Tigers. Al. Uh-oh. Let me go back. I just clicked on something wrong. Al, I got to find your comment here. Well, is it going backwards? I have no idea. No idea what just happened. I scrolling through the comments and it like reset them. Okay, so Clemson Carson says, I'm glad I'm not the only F1 fan here. Yes, I'm a big F1 fan. I am really, like my daughter said, she says I should be a college football fan in general and just love all the teams for their mascots, which, hey, more power to her. I tell her, I'm consistently telling her to be a Clemson fan. She can like all the teams as long as she's a Clemson fan. But as far as Formula One goes, I actually do like all the teams. I love the Netflix series. That's what originally got me hooked on it. I recommend watching it on Netflix. It's great stuff. Then if you've never watched it all, it's hard to go back because you're supposed to watch it and then watch the season. I would say watch it, then maybe watch the replays of the race on YouTube, then go and catch up and keep up because it's got some good storylines. F1 love here too. Nick, I just need Georgia's wide receivers to get healthy and Darnell Washington. That's true. I'm not going to deny the fact that Georgia was missing a lot of players, but to say that the game would have been a blowout is literally just you being a disrespectful fan. You don't know that. I don't know that at all either. Trevor Lawrence could have stayed one more year. It would have been a blowout. Who knows? I don't know. You don't know either. So don't act like having players that you didn't have is going to change the game. We could say that about everybody. Hey, you could have had all those wide receivers and they all blew out all their knees on one play. Who's to say that wasn't going to happen? The track record is the knees are all bad. So who's to say? Color of gray. Me too, man. Monza's my favorite track. Jason Lucky. Elliott needs Scott. Please tell me I'm wrong. I'm just not seeing it. I'm not seeing innovation. Jason, I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. This is a safe space. We're not telling each other we're wrong. We're only doing a loser support group. And I appreciate Georgia fans coming in here because I don't really think you're going to win the national championship with that offense. You got to get healthy. Got to get healthy. Sometimes, John says, sometimes DJ wasn't doing his protection any favors by backing up instead of moving into the pocket. Must not trust the pocket. I mean, I don't think you could say he trusts the pocket at all. Clemson Carson, y'all will get healthy, Nick. Best of luck the rest of the season. Color gray, audio good. Nick, same to Clemson. Audio fine, video fine. SCU, did you hear Big 99 call Henry a... I didn't hear that. Cody, hey, Morgan, can we talk about our chances to get into the playoffs at the end of the season? ACC had a bad day yesterday, but this defense will be top 3. By the end of the season, what's going to happen? Well, I'm going to be at 5 of the home games this year. Get out my trusty Athlon Sports book here just to look at the schedule. September 4th, Georgia. September 11th, South Carolina State, win. Georgia Tech, win. At NC State is now becoming an interesting team. because NC State constantly wins 9 games. NC State doesn't like Clemson. Doran doesn't like Dabo, and it's at their home. It's going to be pretty hyped. I'm almost thinking about going there and watching that game. Not a bad trip. Boston College, again, they played Clemson tough. Jeff Hafley is a good defensive coordinator. At Syracuse is a win. At Pittsburgh, another difficult team. Florida State, we'll find out tonight what Florida State's like. This is 7:30, by the way. Florida State, Notre Dame. At Louisville, we'll find out what Louisville's like on Monday. Connecticut's a win. Wake Forest is going to, they're a decent team as far as the offense, but they just can't keep up. The defense is going to be able to stop a lot of these teams from doing literally anything. And I just don't see, there's nobody on this schedule that has a defense anywhere near close to what Clemson faced Saturday. Hollow. We'll find someone that will. I'm assuming he's saying run the ball. Hollow. They should pit in Hunter Helms. Come on with that. Nick, it was good to see Georgia get 7 sacks. Georgia had struggled with getting pressure and sacking the quarterback in the past few years. Let me be honest with you. If you have a good defense that's struggling to get sacked, come play Clemson. Because yikes. Jason Lucky, if you're recruited pocket passer, you got to recruit big guys for the O-line. Jason, I said this at church today. I said this to a guy at church. I said, problem is they recruited a pocket passer, a pro-style quarterback, and the offensive line with help on the way, still on the train. Krusty Buster, DJ's high school rival, shined at Alabama, which Walt Deptula said he didn't trust it, but sure enough, Alabama reloads, right? WB2, what happened to running the jet sweep? I thought they did one time. That's one of the problems with Clemson. They do it one time and then never go back to it. And the middle was wide open out 10 yards, so why not hit the middle? You can't hit the middle if nobody's running out there. Again, if you put me at offensive coordinator, I'm running one guy deep every play because you always need to run one guy deep. And I'm running 2 guys across the middle, whether it be the tight end and the running back or 2 wide receivers in a mesh crossing each other. I'm running 2 guys across the middle, not 1, 2. That's what you do nowadays. What LSU does or did. That's what Joe Brady does. That's what Ohio State does. Why didn't the wide receivers just sprint and throw to them? There's not enough time. You got to stretch the field sideways because there wasn't enough time. Ladson, you couldn't get the ball to Ladson with it getting sacked as quickly as he was. And the thing is, you get sacked that many times and you don't force rollouts. At that point, you're basically you're asking for your quarterback to lose confidence. And that's exactly what happened. You got to put some blame on Tony Elliott for getting DJ where he was at. There was no adjustment to help him. All I'm asking from Tony Elliott is not to throw the playbook out. I'm just asking him to put DJ in the best possible situation, to understand, to see he's not mentally not ready to run the ball. He's not ready to scramble. Mentally not there, so we'll make him scramble. We'll make him roll out with a rollout play, with a designed play. We'll make him do things like that. We'll make the defense stop coming at the quarterback so hard. We'll make them pay with a wide receiver screen or a running back screen. Krusty Buster, no one was fast enough to fund Bass the Georgia D. WB2, throw in some bubble screens. Jason Luckett, and no runs from the 5, all passes. That was shades of the Seahawks in the Super Bowl. Got Marshawn Lynch, and you throw the ball. Al Kuhn gets in. Play calling didn't help any. Move pocket, screen plays, shuffle pass, throw behind the blitzing backers. 3 passes to the back of the end zone with 1st and goal from the 5. Why? We got turnovers and had chances, wasted great defensive effort. Our offensive coaching, not elite. I can't agree. I can't disagree with that. I cannot agree more if I really should say the correct thing I'm thinking. But that's the thing. I don't think you fire people, you talk about mental capacity, you talk about smarts, commitment, heart, fire, all these things that are motivational, all these things that are genetic. I think if you're going to say genetic things, I think you say DJ wants to be a pocket passer. DJ wants to be a Peyton Manning. At least right now. Maybe he'll develop into that. But I say, if you're going to talk about the way they are, then I'm going to say it in a positive way. But yeah, all those things that Al said, I think a lot of you guys have already said as well. And if we can think it, they can fix it. So you got 11 games, fix it. Now, if we're here and it's Halloween and it's Thanksgiving and we're back here again doing a loser support group again, if we're doing a loser support group after NC State or Boston College or South Carolina, or Pittsburgh, then we can talk. Honestly, at least they didn't get blown out. They got blown out against Ohio State, got blown out against LSU. And I think that is a knock against Georgia in the sense that I don't think Georgia has the firepower to win it all. They may be better than Clemson, but in a sense, they may not be, because what if Clemson figures it out? I don't know. What if they figured it out too? I don't know. There's what ifs. Miami looks good enough to make an ACC title game fun, at least. I don't know. Night Train knew they would lose. They lost 5 draft picks on offense. Everyone was saying all our weapons. Ngata was the only NFL talent on the offense right now. Well, there sure as heck is an offensive lineman that's ready for the NFL. That's for sure. Is there a tight end? No. Is there a running back? No. Is there wide receivers? One showed something. Jason Lucky, I agree with Tiger Paul Craven. Crusty Buster, a true Clemson fan would remember what a loss feels like. Y'all just too spoiled. I don't mind being spoiled, because I've walked out of a Clemson stadium and they've lost to Boston College. They've lost to Georgia Tech. They've lost to Duke. In the 90s, they couldn't beat Duke. As a kid, that was not fun. And there was a bunch of Florida State fans then. Now there's not as many Florida State fans anymore. Al Kuhn, receivers running wrong routes, just issues across the board. Yeah, I don't understand that. You got all off season, and from the get-go, you're not on the same page with your receivers. Makes no sense to me. Evan says, how much do you blame the game on coaching? You got equal share amongst everybody, I think. I think you have equal share amongst DJ, equal share amongst the coaching, equal share amongst the offensive line. Can it be fixed? Got a lot of ideas in the comments. If we're thinking of ideas about how it can be fixed, you got to think these guys making $1 million are also thinking of these same ideas. If they're not, that's a problem. Al Coon, yes, Georgia wasn't much better. Yeah, I mean, I would tell my Georgia fans to their face. I'm not walking, as a Georgia fan, I'm walking out thinking, man, this defense is elite. But then again, it's like kicking a dog when they're down after a while. Clemson wasn't doing nothing. I wonder if Clemson was doing anything against Boston College last night. That's what's scary. But on the flip side, Georgia could not score. Without that pick six, we're in the 17th overtime, 3-3. Oh, let me get to Jason. This loss hurts because our offense looked inept. Defense was great. It does hurt. I think every loss hurts. Krusty Buster, I blame the game on the NFL-style D line. On an NFL-style D line. Krusty, are you coming from as a Georgia fan or a Clemson fan? I don't know. Deborah, Billy says there's a talent gap in the type of O-lineman that we recruit compared to the type of SEC. I agree. To be honest with you, Clemson is lucky to get 1 5-star offensive lineman every 5 years, maybe every 4 years. Georgia can get 2 or 3 5-star offensive linemen every other year. Georgia can typically bank on their current roster. I had it on my show notes. Let me get my trusty show notes out from the radio show. I get made fun of for having notes, but I'm old school. And I print out like 10 of them. And that's probably not good for the environment. Here we go. Jamari, what is that? Salyer, 5-star guy. Justin Schaefer, All-American. Clay Webb, 5-star guy. Broderick Jones, 5-star guy. Chad Lindbergh, top guy. Tate Ratledge, top guy. Warren McClendon, top guy. Cedric Van Pran, number 1 center in his class. Warren Erickson, top guy. I mean, they've got. If this is the year that Georgia can win it, it's not because their roster's bad. Their roster is stacked. I think to your point, Deb, Clemson is very successful in getting defensive linemen, top defensive linemen, year in and year out. They're very successful in defensive recruiting year in and year out. They're very successful in quarterback recruiting and wide receiver recruiting. Offensive line recruiting, they're not as successful. I would almost feel like if you're an offensive line recruiter for Clemson, you have to say, hey, look, we have DJ. We have these elite wide receivers. We have a 5-star running back. Come help us, please. Please help us. But the problem is you're not going to play those freshmen. So you can't get them now. You had to have gotten them 2 years ago. And so you can't say, come help us. But, all right, so Nerdy Athlete, 1st and goal from the 5, and we run 3 straight pass plays. You can't ask our boys to get 5 yards on 3 carries. Hey, that was bad. They got an interception on the 35-yard line and threw the ball 3 times, got sacked twice, I believe, got out of field goal range. If they would have just ran the ball 3 times, they could have at least got a field goal. So if you're saying a touchdown on that, and I'm saying a field goal on that, that's 10 points right there. Krusty Buster, if Clemson's O-line was as bad as y'all claim it would be, it would have been a blowout. Them kids left it all on the field, every ounce of it. The offensive line is bad. 7 sacks is inexcusable. That's also bad on the offensive coordinator. That's also bad on DJ. It's a split 3 ways. But Krusty, to be honest with you, last year was bad. Travis Etienne, which they kept bragging about, could not really run the ball. He got 3 games with 100 yards rushing. Could not really run the ball. And this year, they've taken a step back. Jason Lucky, yeah, just bad play calling at the 5. Night Train, DJ held on the ball too long. Not all on the O-line. WB2DX, the lack of experience is the issue. You know, I said experience about the defense on a video previously, and I got beat up in the comments about how that's lazy reporting if you say experience is important. I don't get it. I say anybody who doesn't value his experience is obviously too young to not to have any. Night Train, problem I had was the ESPN announcer was more play calling ability than has more play calling ability than Clemson's coaches. I'm not going to say you're wrong. You know what? That's a vent. I'll let you have it. Jason Lucky, for the Tigers to get to the playoffs, they're going to need to crush our opponents. We're going to need these window dressing wins. Replacing coaches is not the way to go. We need new plays installed in the system. They got 11 games, WB2DX. They got 11 games. 11 games to prove to the nation that their offense is not what we saw Saturday. Jason Lucky, Night Train's correct. Anew, Eric McLean would be a great offensive line coach for us. SCU, I'd like to see Herb Street try his hand at offensive coordinator somewhere. He is a very intelligent guy, be honest. No lie. Night Train, he was spot on the analysis of what was going wrong with the play calling for Clemson. Yeah, I mean, it was almost like he became a Clemson fan because he got to a point where you could hear the frustration in him wanting to tell DJ to run. But again, you can't make somebody who can't mentally do it themselves. And I don't mean that he's not smart enough to do it. I just mean psychologically, his mindset was not in becoming a dual threat quarterback for Clemson that night. Can it happen? Yeah, maybe it could happen, but not that night. We know he was dead set. His fallback. You know, they always say when you get in a stressful situation, you fall back on what you're most comfortable with. And hopefully your training. This is what they do in the military. I was in the Army. This is what they do in the military. They say that's why they do the same boring trainings over and over and over and over and over, because when you get into the most stressful situations, you fall back on what's most natural to you. And the only way to make something natural is to do it over and over and over and over as a habit. As a unnatural thing becomes a habit, becomes a natural thing. In this situation, he has not been put in a spot to need to be a dual threat quarterback at the level that Clemson needs it for the play calling that they're doing. And so when he got in a stressful situation, he fell back on what was natural to him the most, what was natural to him was to sit there. What was natural for him was to take the sack and live another day. What was unnatural to him was to stop and think, I can run. I have an open lane. That was what was unnatural to him. Now, maybe they can develop that. They should be able to. He's a smart enough guy. They should be able to develop it, but it's going to take time. It's going to take 11 games. It's going to take all season is what I'm trying to say. Well, they have all season to prove it. It's going to take multiple live games of contact for him to feel it. I mean, to be honest with you, it's not an easy thing to do. How many times did Deshaun Watson have great runs? How many times did Deshaun Watson get rocked? Same for Trevor Lawrence. Same for Taj Boyd. Todd Teal, hey, we never know. Our staff might be afraid to run him due to the fact that if he gets hurt, we have no quarterback ready to be a starter. True. He may even understand that. You got to understand that he knows what the position of the team is. Live to fight another day? Maybe. Night Train. Jason Lucky. The game hasn't slowed down for DJU. He had no confidence last night. And the O-line play and play calling didn't help. NBT3, even the SEC loving announcers mentioned it in the third quarters. Dump off passes will freeze linebackers. Why the heck can't we adjust? NBT3, I'm with you. Hey guys, do me a favor. Make sure you like this video and subscribe. Follow me on Facebook, over on Twitter at The Morgan T Show. And I do my live show with the other guys every Thursday night from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. over on the Roar 105.5 FM up in the upstate. Evan Fields, what would be really cool? That would be really cool to watch it live like you suggested. Go through play-by-play and break it down. That's what I want to do maybe later on this week. Todd Teal, the staff might have told DJ to try and not run as much to play it safe. Maybe so. Jason Lucky, the wide receivers didn't help out last night either. Where was Ladson, Williams, and Ajoa Joe? I didn't see Ajoa Joe at all. And he had a good spring game. Why wasn't he out there? I don't know. NBT. It was a great smash mouth defensive game. The tackling was amazing, but you have to make adjustments. Jason Lucky, Streeter should be Elliott's eyes and ears on the field. Maybe he is. Maybe he is. Michael Slappy. I love my Tigers, but I got to say the offense is weak. I'm going to say like the offense is weak. All night long, they kept bursting through the line, and all DJ could do was watch and wait. What's all the hype with wide receiver U? Nobody showed up but Ngata. I feel you. I think you got to let it out, man. I don't think putting Ross in the slot's the right fit. I agree. I mean, we only have one sample size, but to Dabo's point, that's 1 out of 12 right there. 1 out of 12. I would not do that again. Maybe he'll prove us wrong later on in the season as time goes on. Okay, guys, we know the O-line is weak, but this was probably the best D-line we will face. True. Slappy, same as me. I agree. Night Train, I think Ross should retire. Health over money or fame. I don't know. I mean, if a elite doctor has given you approval to play football, I don't think so. Let him play. Because I know I have had 2 torn ACLs. I would love to play soccer again. Played 1 year in college and 3 years in high school, and my knee's busted and I can't play soccer anymore. If I could go back and play a sport again, I would. So, but I got to have a job. Krusty Buster, I know DK, I know what happened. That is not for this broadcast. Okay, yeah, DK gave you all the clues. He's the biggest genius. Jason Lucky, Trevor had that long run against Ohio State. Night Train, he ran a lot in the Natty. Michael Slappy, I think they've been fed too much rat poison. We need more mean physicality and stop getting caught in the hype. I mean, all this fall, they've been talking about bulking up, getting stronger, being more physical, punching people in the mouth. They've been talking about it. Watch DK laughing at Justin Ross. I don't understand. I would have liked to have seen them go against each other because Justin Ross got the better of him in the spring game when he was healthy. NBT, if he isn't smart enough to run when available, he won't last as a quarterback in college. I don't think it's smarts, man. Like I said, I think hold back talking about somebody's intelligence. I think that's disrespectful. I know you don't mean it that way, but I think when you get in a stressful situation, you fall back on what's most comfortable to you. Being a pocket passer is most comfortable to him right now. How did DJ get intercepted? DK. I don't know. I have to rewatch that, but it was Christopher Smith that intercepted him specifically. Do you think that DK told Christopher Smith the play that was coming? Because the play that happened wasn't even the play that was called. So I'm not following you, Krusty. Derek McCollum, DJ is hold on. Cameras. Somebody text messaged me and I didn't mean to click on it. I was swiping it off. Working from my phone. Derek McCollum, DJ is gutless and was overhyped. His high school season was featured on QB1, showed that. He's just an average QB. I haven't seen QB1. I'm going to have to go watch that and see if I agree with you. I think that you are being extremely disrespectful in calling anybody gutless and overhyped. And I don't think that one game in that scenario with so many other factors is, I don't think that it's even fair to say that. SCU, he did seem to lose most of his big games in high school. I haven't watched it, but MBT3 or Trey, MBT Trey. DJ might come around. Dabo clearly thinks he will. Night Train, I thought the QB from Connecticut played better in the spring game until he got hurt. Maybe so. He was throwing some darts. Derek, I knew when you guys offered him it would create problems. Maybe he'll figure it out for you guys. I'm interested to see this QB1 now. I haven't seen it. What's it on? Is it on Amazon? Is that on Netflix? I'm surprised I haven't watched it. I mean, I got so many other things. You know, I'm trying to be a pilot. I also have a full-time job. I'm trying to be a, ACC network guy. Pretending to be a radio guy. And I'm a dad. DJ was a statue. Anthony Weeks. Anthony, welcome. MBT3, the penalty, no calls were horrible. I'm not saying nothing about penalties. I do think that penalty for Sheridan Jones, I think they were both fighting each other. Slappy says, Michael says, I want a rematch. We need a redemption. No more playing around. We need to go that next level and get that 2018 Legends, like that 2018 Legends. If we're going to have a rematch, let's make it at the end of the season. Anthony Weeks, Lin J bounced to the outside, moved the ball when we didn't go back to it. I completely agree. Derek says, want to see you guys in the playoffs. I mean, if Clemson can't figure it out, going back to what you guys have said before, if Clemson can't figure it out on offense, it would be a gross misuse of this elite defense. MBT3, I'll assume the Heisman talk is over. Yes. Miyagi Fang Karate, 89. Georgia wasn't the best team to go against and try to break in a new offense. I do think Tony Elliott needs to revamp this offense, though. Need a bigger phone. I got an iPhone 11. F1 or NASCAR. You know, I tried NASCAR. I just like Formula One because each team is so unique. All the setups on both teams are so unique. But now you got me talking, okay? So you got me talking. It's two hours into it. Now you got me talking. AEW is my other favorite thing. So I got Formula One, AEW, and Clemson football. And, you know, if I could talk about it every show, I would. But, you know, my co-hosts want to talk about Clemson. Jordan Bowman, pain. ... Pain. I feel you, Jordan. Let it out. I wish that you would be more emotional, Jordan. I wish you would be more emotional. Let your feelings, like the Star Wars saying, give in to your feelings. Is that what they say? I don't know. Todd Teal, does anyone know where to get home game tickets or a ticket for a good price? Well, Todd, if you're talking about Clemson, I currently bought individual games on ClemsonTigers.com. Go to ClemsonTigers.com. There should still be individual games available that are for face value. Jordan Bowman, I may have undervalued Jeff Scott while he was at Clemson. Oh, yeah. Believe me too. We seem to be a lot more creative offensively. Yeah. Michael, I have faith and love my Tigers. I know that they will get it right. Hart Vaughn gets in. DJ needs to move his eyes, stop keying in, and it was acting like it was his first game ever. Not the first person to say that. There's a lot of people that mention the same thing. Hey, don't forget, if you're watching over on Facebook, make sure you like and follow our page and share with your friends. If you're watching over on YouTube, make sure to hit the like and subscribe and share with your friends. Help me out. The like button definitely helps. The share helps really good. But, you know, it's all about numbers. And follow me over on Twitter at The Morgan T Show. At The Morgan T Show. Every Thursday night, 7 p.m., live on 105, 97.5 FM in the upstate South Carolina. Miyagi says the problem is that we ran the same plays for years now. Everybody's figured the offense out. I told Alan this during the game. I said, you know what? Maybe it's a bad thing that Clemson hasn't had to get a new offensive coordinator. Maybe it's a bad thing that Tony Elliott hasn't been promoted to a head coach. Maybe it is Tony Elliott's turn to be a head coach. Maybe it is Dabo's time to get somebody with a fresh set of eyes, somebody with a fresh playbook. Especially if your players are transferring out and then they're playing against you. It'd be nice to have a fresh playbook. WB2DX. You can't fire anyone based on a loss. Tony has to learn to mix it up with more play calling. I agree. Got 11 games to make it up to us and the nation and to your own team. Hart Vaughn. Plus, that O-line needs some love bad. I don't know if it's love they need. Hart Vaughn. But hats off to Georgia defense. They played one heck of a game. I mean, 2 elite defenses. Man, I would love to have those linebackers. Clemson has great linebackers. I'd love to have their linebackers. Really. Take away the pick six. Look at the game. We're not elite, but not a pushover either. I mean, I think that Clemson is elite. I think Georgia's elite. I mean, you look at the top 10 teams, again, there's teams of top 5. There are 5 teams that are probably elite and the rest are hoping. Even with this. And I'll say this going back to what I think Derek was saying about QB1 and the show and not winning. SCU saying DJ not winning big games. DJ, in his own right, the offensive line's got 11 games. The offensive coordinator's got 11 games. DJU has 11 games because the number 1 quarterback in this class, now that Quinn Ewers is gone, and the guy that's throwing bombs over in Texas is coming. And I wouldn't be surprised if Cade Klubnik comes in and says, hey, you know what? You got some skills, but I'm about to push you. I'm about to take you to the limit, and I'm about to show you that I'm a gamer and I can win games. If you're saying that DJ struggles to win big games, Cade Klubnik's coming, and Cade can win big games. This defense is as close to 2018 as we've been. What a waste. It feels like 2017 all over again. And honestly, a 2017 offense could run the ball at least. And Kelly Bryant didn't take many sacks. True. Let it out, man. Let it out. Samuel Jones, we need to prioritize recruiting top offensive line talent above all else. I would say not above all else. I'd say you got to consistently get an elite quarterback. You don't want to be messing with a quarterback. You don't want to be hoping with a quarterback. Get your elite quarterback. Then I would say get your elite defensive lineman. Then I would say prioritize getting your elite offensive lineman. That's what I would say. Matthew Royer, 7 sacks, but has to learn to get out of the pocket. We talked about him learning about getting out of the pocket, but we also talked about the play calling forcing him out, rolling out, bootlegs. Jordan McFadden should not be playing tackle. He is a guard in the NFL. We've got guys playing out of their natural positions. We need bigger linemen. Simple as that. If you don't got them, you don't got them, buddy. I'm sorry, Jordan. I feel you. I'm no disrespect. I completely want you to have this moment, this loser's appreciation. I mean, what did I call it? Loser support group, not appreciation. We don't appreciate losing, but I appreciate you. But you got to let it out. Let it out. 6'2", 300 pounds is definitely not an NFL tackle. Tiger Paul Craven, we cannot and will not compete with the top teams without evolving the offensive scheme and upgrading the O-line talent and coaching. I think that you don't have to even change anything on the offensive scheme if you just had an offensive line. I think offensive line fixes all. The problem is it takes years and great recruiting. It takes years and great recruiting. And what we have seen is Clemson got a huge offensive line class, and none of them are really starting. Will Putnam, Walker Parks, 2 out of like 8. 2 out of 8. The rest are no-shows. Samuel Jones, the only problem was our O-line talent. Get that fixed, and we probably would have won. Hey, Sam, you're with me. I just basically stole what you said. Todd Teal, nice show, buddy. This is my first, but won't be my last. Hey, Todd, thank you for coming in. Again, we've been doing this for 3 years. Where you been, bro? Where you been? We've been doing this for 3 years. Get on Facebook, follow us, get on YouTube, subscribe to us. I appreciate you being a part of the show, man. I really do. You had some great insight. Losers support group here. Mel Graves. That's the no play calling Tony Elliott for you. He doesn't know what he's doing. I think if you had better offensive line, things would be different. Only 19 likes. Come on, hit the likes. Come on, y'all. We had like 50 people watching previously. Got about 30 people watching now. Hit the like button. Again, you know how Facebook works. You know how YouTube works. The best thing for you to do for me, if you love me, if you really care, hit the like button. If you want to go even further, hit the subscribe button. Hit the follow button. If you want to go even further and be elite, share it with a friend. Al Kuhn, I love your thoughts and analysis. Great job. I would also like to watch and analyze each play. That is really the only way to see what really happened. Hey, set it up. I'm gonna set it up. I'll post when I do it. We're gonna do it before the radio show Thursday. I'll try to do it before Thursday. Okay. Todd Teal, something I don't understand is Dabo's press conferences last week and prior to the game, he was bragging about how good and how far the team had come, but yet DJ and the receivers were nowhere near on the same page. Let it out, Todd. Let it out. You deserve that moment. Nowhere near on the same page. There's coach speak. You know, Dabo, there's coach speak. Any coach, there's coach speak. You are not going to see what you see and then say what you say, especially to the media. You trust the media to take your words. Nobody takes Dabo Swinney's words correctly. You trust the media to take criticism at all, especially coming from the head coach? No way, no how. I'd rather him not say it. I appreciate coach speak better than anything. Krusty Buster, yep, he sat at the 10-yard marker and sat and waited. He knew what was coming. Bayless Morgan gets in, says, how many times did we, Clemson, sack them? I believe Clemson had 2 sacks. I believe. I know they got 1. Jordan Bowman, we had 1 sack because Georgia was smart and threw quick passes. Evan Fields, haha, loving AEW right now. Wishing I could watch a pay-per-view tonight. I would love to see CM Punk Darby Allin match. Well, Evan Fields, let me tell you something. Just check your messages after this show. Because with the internet, where there's a will, there's a way, my friend. You will get to watch if you are savvy enough on the websites. But I'm looking forward to AEW. That's about that. I mean, I look forward to it every Wednesday night. I look forward to it every Friday night. On my Thursday night show, I introduce it as it's Thursday night. And you know what that means. So you know I love AEW. Again, also Formula One. MBT, now DJ needs to know he needs to earn it. So true. So true. MBT with the $5 tip. Thank you, MBT. Man, you've been in since like I started. So I really appreciate the tip, brother. Thank you so much for being a part of the show, for commenting, being thoughtful, telling us what you mean, and just giving your thoughts, emotions, emotional outbursts, anger, whatever it may be. I really appreciate it, MBT3. Thank you so much for the tip. I don't do it for tips, but it's always helpful, for me to get new cameras, new microphones, new lights, get the other guys what they need, and buy stickers and things like that, T-shirts, giveaways, contests. I'm always trying to do stuff that's fun and exciting and engaging. So thank you so much for supporting. At least it shows that I'm doing something that matters to you. So I appreciate it. And thanks for the questions, man, and the comments. It was like we said, Rush, we don't care. Ian Miles, syrup sandwich, UGA defense is NFL-ish. Jordan Bowman, I miss Mitch Hyatt. Yeah, that's true. NBT3, we saw more rushing at the KA house in September. Did nothing to adjust. I am pissed. What's up, Morgan? Jared, what's up? Defense was great. Offense was struggling. Yeah, Jared, I talked to your dad about that. It was tough, man. Night Train, what's up with the bad snaps? Well, they had Matt Bockhorst getting in at center because they can't trust anybody at center other than somebody who is the most veteran. And Bockhorst said he didn't mind because he needs to get snaps at center because he thinks that might be where he'll go in the NFL. Marcel's promos and commercials channel. Thank you, Marcel, for getting in. Tough night for our Clemson football, especially. We will next game when the next play will take place. The next game is South Carolina State. Darth Rebel, I'm assuming that you are a Star Wars fan, and that's so am I. Until Clemson gets a good offensive line, we are not going to compete with a top 5 level anymore. They need at least the left tackle has to be good. It was so detrimental for Clemson when they lost Hyatt, John Simpson, and Sean Pollard and Gage Cervenka. When they lost those 4 guys in 1 year, I don't Clemson has not recovered. And the problem is it's been a couple of years since then now. Bama would beat us 4 touchdowns today. Jordan Bowman. I think Bama would even beat Georgia 4 touchdowns. I mean, to be honest with you, there's nothing to prove that Georgia is got the offensive firepower else. Apologize, I had a phone call coming in. I should have put it told me when I started this, if you're going to use your phone, put it in do not disturb, and I just didn't do it. Hartbaugh once, that was I guess he was talking about sacks. Todd Teal following me on Twitter. Thank you, Todd. Oh, sorry about that. I switched off. Ian Miles, syrup sandwich. Guess what? Georgia defense and offense is going to get better. UGA defense is scary. I think they need to get better. WB2DX, AEW or WWE? AEW is CM drunk. AEW is better, man. Overall, I like AEW. I feel like WWE is feeding me fake stuff. I feel like AEW at least makes me feel like I'm back as a kid on the couch with my dad watching it, you know, Saturday nights. I feel Monday night, Friday night. I feel that. I don't feel it with WWE. I feel like I'm being fed a fake broadcast that's too perfect. And the cuts, the cut. I mean, just leave it on one camera for a second. Jordan Bowman, on a positive note, I love how Trenton Simpson has come along. He's a special player. Let me talk about positive note here. James Skalski, Trenton Simpson, Makuba, Goodrich, positive. Murphy, positive. Brzee, positive. Booth, positive. Great play from the defense. Positive note, Ngata. W2 says, I need a bigger phone. Hartbaugh offense was just as bad on the ground statistically. We had 2 yards rushing after all the sacks. Yeah. 2 yards rushing, going to be terrible to beat anybody. Ian Miles, syrup sandwich, that you call grown D-man football. Go UGA. You know what? I did say this is losers support group, not winners support group. So if you're looking for a winners support group, I'm sure somebody else has a winners support group for you, Ian Miles. I'm not saying you shouldn't say those things. I'm just saying that this is loser support group. Tiger Paw Craven, I understand some saying you don't know what the lean days were like. But that's not true. We do know what it was like to get blown out in Death Valley. And we're loud because we don't want to go back. You know what I remember? I remember 2013 when it was Heisman Trophy candidate Taj Boyd versus Heisman Trophy candidate Jameis Winston. My buddy was honored at halftime for a Purple Heart, and Clemson was destroyed 53-14 at home. Heisman Trophy thoughts gone. National championship thoughts gone. ACC championship thoughts gone. Yeah, I was there. I was there losing 6 years in a row 5 years in a row to South Carolina. I was there. Marcel, okie dokie, Morgan Time, Temp TV Radio, please, for our Clemson takes over on South Carolina State. I don't know if we're going to talk much about South Carolina State because it's not the biggest game to be, doing the reviews and analysis for. But again, you got us on Facebook at The Morgan Thomas Show. You got us on YouTube. You're already on YouTube. So The Morgan Thomas Show. And then on the radio, 105.5 The Roar, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Time every Thursday in between Walt Deptula and Jaguars Coaches Show. Tremaine Akram. That's who I was thinking of. They lost 5 guys. They lost their whole offensive line that never recovered. Hartbaugh, And not to mention multiple times having receivers in the same place. Oh, that was so frustrating in the red zone. He throws to the receivers. If you're going to throw 3 times, throw 3 times. But why are 2 guys in the same exact spot on the field? I'm with you, Hart. Let it out, man. Express your feelings. Ian Miles, syrup sandwich. UGA still won with a lot of starters hurt. Very true. If you get your starters back, you get confident on the offense, you get some people to throw to. Your receivers are going to be hurt no matter what, though. You guys, every single receiver on your team's got knee problems. Most of your receivers have gone at least have a stack of papers this thick at the Athens orthopedic office. On Tap Sports, most elite teams are very good upfront defense. Clemson needs work on that O-line, and so this season might be a wash because of that. Very true. On Tap Sports, go check them out. Ray is amazing over there. At least I think it's Ray. WB2DX. Switch Skalski to the O-line. Hey, you know what? Let's do like high school. Let's put the freaking defensive ends, defensive linemen. Let's put them all on the offensive line. Going forward, Clemson defensive line will play both ways. John V says, sorry for calling you while you're live. Don't tell people who calls me, John. Don't tell people you call me. Keep it a secret. Hart Vaughn, the bad Whitehurst days. Hey, we remember. Pepperidge Farm remembers. Tiger Paw Craven. That's the exact game that came to my mind, Morgan, when I was typing that. Yeah, believe me, we may be millennials, but it ain't always been the Dabo Swinney era. I was at the game after they fired Tommy Bowden, and everybody was crying their eyes out. Everybody's mama in the tailgate was crying. It was devastating. He was a good guy. I mean, he is a good guy. A good coach. Just couldn't win games. Couldn't make changes on his staff. WB2DX been a fan since 1973. Marcel, got it. Thanks. Night Train. I think Dabo has lost his will to win the Natty. Oh, Night Train. Come on, buddy. Come on. He seems content to be the ACC champions and ESPN celebrity coach. Just wondering if he's getting tired of it all. Wow. Night Train, I don't know what you're drinking over there. I don't know what you're drinking on that one. I can't follow you there. Although, again, this is the Losers Support Group. I support you in your thoughts. I support you. I'm here for you. I'm giving you an avenue to say that. I completely disagree, but you've had your space. Hopefully, it provides you some sort of peace to let it out. Let go of your negative thoughts and feelings here on the Loser Support Group. And while you're doing, make sure you like the video and subscribe to our YouTube channel or follow us over on Facebook and catch me on Twitter at The Morgan T Show. Paul Parsons, I don't think the offensive line is as bad as it looked. Okay, Paul. Okay. The eternal optimist, Paul, everyone. Georgia is the best defense in the country, and they dominated. Clemson may be the second best defense. True. I would say, come on, Paul, let's do 1A, 1B. What surprised me is how DJ was a statue in the pocket and made no attempt to escape or throw on the run. I thought he was more mobile. He was also very inaccurate. Paul, all very good thoughts. Let me pause. Tiger Paul Craven gets in with a $4.99 tip. Thank you so much, Tiger Paul Craven, for getting in and supporting the Losers Support Group. Hopefully, we won't have very many more of these for you to donate to. But if we do, I will be here for you. He says, not going to lie, it's been nice to vent a little bit, Morgan. Shout out to you. for a great show. Well, I appreciate it. That's what I'm here for. It is the Losers Support Group. We need it. We need it because you know why? Our families need us on Monday. Our work needs us on Monday. So we got to let this out now because we can't let it linger into the work week. It's time to move on. It may be not time to move on, but you know what it is time to do? Vent. Let it out. Let it out. Clemson may be the second best defense. Surprise to me about how DJ was a statue in the pocket and made no attempt to escape. Again, if you missed the first show, first part of the show, I know it's been a long stream because we've just been going through it, talking about, discussing it. The thing is, you really have to remember that he is a pro passer. He showed that he's a pocket passer. Mentally, he's there. He's not a dual threat. He's not Deshaun. He's not Trevor. He's not Taj. And so it's on the Clemson offensive staff to force him to run. To your point, to force him to roll out by calling those plays, to force him to throw the running back screens. It's on the offensive coordinators to do those things, and they didn't do them. Once he gets more comfortable in having success, he did have success. He ran right behind Lynn J. Dixon and got 7 yards and never did it again. Hart Vaughn, ACC championship still in the mix, of course. But with that loss, I'm feeling like no college football playoff will be on it. To be honest, we don't deserve it at all. You know what, Hart? Again, free space for you. I think that is very true, that those feelings could happen. I think it's very true Clemson has a chance to get in the ACC championship. I think it's very true that Clemson is going to be looked upon negatively in some ways because of the rest of their schedule. On tap. Yep, it's Ray. Thanks, Morgan. LOL. Any thoughts on how you could have gotten Shipley and or Ross more involved in space last night? Honestly, to be honest with you, I would not put Ross in the slot position. I think that experiment should be squashed immediately. Clemson's offense has been used to having Artavis Scott, has been used to having Amari Rodgers, Hunter Renfrow, Tyler Gresham. They've been used to having those slot type, shorter, twitchier, faster guys in those positions. They're not used to a 6'4" guy, and I don't think it's natural. I think he needs to be the outside. I think he needs to be the back shoulder guy. I think he needs to be the deep guy. That's how I get Ross more involved, is move his position. If you got too many wide receivers, if the problem originally we were told they have too many wide receivers, where was the passing game? If you got too many wide receivers, why'd you only throw to one? Why was only one successful and Ross was completely ineffective? Not only that, to your point, Ray, and by the way, go subscribe to On Tap Sports if you're a college football fan. He's got some great stuff over there. And Ray, you're the reason why I bought my lights. If you saw Ray, go check out one of my recent videos. I bought some backlights that are orange and purple because I saw your blue and gold there, or maize and gold, whatever you say. And I kind of basically copied you. So I hope you don't mind. But orange and purple though. And then Shipley, I thought they tried originally, and then they went away from it. They even ran Shipley in a traditional pistol formation, wing 2 tight end pistol formation. That was shocking to me because that's a Taj Boyd type play. But I do wonder, and I know you guys have been thinking it. Where is Chad Morris? Chad Morris. And this offense is developed from him originally. Now, I know it's completely different now, maybe, but it seems very similar to the Chad Morris teachings, and he has fallen off. He has been quickly figured out. And you know what? It was weird to see Clemson hold on to the ball so long before snapping. Not something I was expecting. Bowman, Jordan says, what you want about, say what you want about Charlie Whitehurst. He went 4-0 against Carolina again, 63-17. So true. WB2, I think Night Train has been hitting the night train. Little 150 proof. Yeah. So true. Randall Ballard, ready. Thank you so much for getting in, Randall. I'm mad Clemson lose that game against the Georgia Bulldogs. Yeah, Randall, I'm with you. I'm a Michigan fan. We actually run our losers support group streams live 24/7, 365. I'm so tired. My eyes are back. You won yesterday, though. You won. Will Clemson win rest of the games, Randall? Yeah, I think they have a chance to win out. I mean, every day is new, but you got 11 games to prove it. Tiger Paul Craven, one other big disappointment is we didn't even try to run. Like, come on, man. I think so. I feel like it was too quick to just move away from it. Especially you weren't ever down by 2 touchdowns. Again, they had the ball on the 35-yard line after a interception and didn't run the ball and got out of field goal range. Bo Weevil, hey, Morgan, disappointed. Don't understand why more QB runs weren't called. Again, the one that I saw worked. Will Clemson make the playoffs? Hard to say, man. On Tap Sports, Ray, thank you so much for the $5 donation. I really appreciate it. He says, good stuff. That's awesome about the lights. I was wondering that and you did. You are perfectly fine. Iron sharpens iron, my friend. Looks great. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Hart Vaughn gets in, says, need a white lightning type wide receiver. Bad. I think you got that in Shipley. Will Clemson make the national championship game? Randall, you got great questions, but these are so far out. Let's just focus on next week. Really, 1 week at a time. Bo Weevil says, number 10 was better in the slot. Ngata was better in the slot. I don't know where he lined up, but he obviously was better. Obviously. Jordan says, this is similar to the LSU game when we stopped giving the ball to Travis Etienne. Then he even when he was getting 6 yards per carry. Tony Elliott is a pattern of abandoning the run quickly. Now, I will say that. I think Chad Morris was kind of that way too. And again, I've mentioned this to Alan. Coaching continuity is great. It may be great for recruiting. But as a lot of you have mentioned, if other teams don't have film on Clemson by now, after this many years with the same offensive coordinator, I just worry that the elite teams have caught on to something. And I'm not talking about DK, sharing his insider secrets. I'm thinking the elite teams have caught on to something bigger than that without even needing, an insider. LSU was able to do it with spreading the field horizontally, with running people across the middle, running people deep, but also protecting their quarterback so he could drop dimes. Ohio State, the same thing, protecting their quarterback so their tight ends could run across the middle, and, it was no good. Anu gets in, says, I think we bounced back. We need a tough road test to calm. We need a tough road test to calm the waters a little versus NC State. Hopefully the Pack doesn't lose a game until then. Go Tigers. I agree. I think that North Carolina State game is what you're building up to now. And let's see how they perform. Schedule-wise, that is September 25th, the end of September. So you got there's 3 games from now. So SC State and Georgia Tech, 2 games that should be easily winnable games for you to get on the same page with your quarterback or with your wide receivers. This is interesting. Athlon Sports Football Magazine, Key Tigers, DJ Uiagalelei has the arm strength, poise, and football IQ to join Deshaun Watson and Trevor Lawrence as all-time greats quarterbacks. Do you feel that now? Are you feeling that way now? Opposing coaches sizes up Clemson. They're losing top pick picks in the draft, and they're still national title favorites. Next man up, DJ, is really, really good. I'm not sure if he's the sort of running threat that Trevor Lawrence was, which is something to watch. Well, we already know he's not. So this is from another quarterback, an opposing quarterback, or an opposing coach, rather. I think it's going to be a different offense because whether they've got in trouble or out schemed, they just run Trevor, which is true. Last year, if they got in trouble, they got out schemed, Trevor Lawrence would win the game himself. And if Trevor got over 100 yards, the game was won. If Trevor kept it under 100 yards, you'd have to say it was a risk for Clemson. This kid is a giant and a very different athlete. Again, this is an opposing coach saying this, but it's like Clemson coaches don't understand it. And this is an opposing coach in the Athlon Sports magazine. I don't feel like they're quite as good at receiver as in years past, or whoever is the majority of snaps at running back will likely be real interesting. I think they're really competitive. They're better on defense because they're going to be older. 2020 was a year for them to learn and break in a lot of the guys. The defensive line was really good for how young they were. The younger edge guys are coming back to be better. Same with the secondary. Brent Venables has done an exceptional job rebuilding his scheme around personnel. Again, rebuilding his scheme around personnel. Rebuilding his scheme around the players on the field, not keeping the scheme and forcing DJ to be Trevor. There is still the standard, still miles ahead of the Florida schools, still best in their league from top to bottom. They're at a level that really skews the curve in the league because while there are teams improving like the Tar Heels, you can't tell over the course of the year when you compare to the Tigers, which we know where the Tar Heels are at now. Interesting notes from Athlon Sports magazine, national magazine, saying that DJ's not the same kind of quarterback and you can't treat him the same. And when you get out schemed, when you get outplayed, when you get behind the numbers, you can't expect him to run like Trevor naturally. What have we been saying? What have we been saying this whole time? Jordan Davis on UGA is a legit Bo. Ian Miles, you can have that. Again, this is not winner support group. I don't know why you're here, but loser support group will also accept it. Jordan Davis is a beast. Bayless Morgan, the sky is not falling. We're a very close game to a top 5 team. I was a student at Clemson when we burned Frank Howard in the effigy. I don't remember that. But Bayless, you should call into my Roar show and tell us about it. That would be a great story. 7:30 or 7 o'clock p.m. Thursday, 105.5 The Roar. Tony is a creature of habit. After all, if you repeat the same plays, you become predictable. And the defense will pick apart your offense. The problem won't be the rest of the regular season. I think we win them all. The problem has been in recent years disappointing when playing the elite teams, i.e. in the playoffs. Craven, I agree with you 1,000%. A lot of people like to pick on me and talk about how I'm being overly critical on a great team. But it's like the Yankees. The Yankees are trying to win the World Series, trying to win the playoffs. The Yankees are not trying to beat the Athletics. They're not trying to beat the Blue Jays. They're trying to beat the Red Sox. They're trying to beat the best teams. They're trying to beat the Astros. Whoever may be the best teams now. I mean, Angels, whoever, I don't know. But I don't watch baseball as much as I used to as a kid. But again, when you become an elite team, you're no longer concerned about beating Georgia Tech. If beating Georgia Tech was not a given, you're no longer an elite team. You have fallen off. If beating Georgia Tech is a challenge, you have a problem. I remember watching Todd's boys' first games. We all see how it turned out. Again, great optimism. I think as more we talk about it, the more we let our frustrations out, the more we take a step back and realize, hey, all these guys aren't big idiots. They're not all stupid. And the whole thing doesn't need to be thrown away and started over and burned. I think once you sit back and realize, hey, it is what it is. We know that there are changes that need to be made. There are changes that can be made. There are changes that can't be made. Getting new offensive linemen, not going to happen. So Clemson's got to find something else. Clemson's got to fix it in another way. And we've already made suggestions. If Tony Elliott alone listens to this video, he will have plenty of ideas. He may or may not. The most confusing part is that on paper, the talent on the team is better than it was in 16 and 18 teams, but our competitiveness against elite teams has lacked. I mean, Deshaun is proven to be an elite quarterback in the NFL as well. I don't think you can understate how good Deshaun was. Also, Mike Williams. But I feel you. WBD2 or WB2DX, how far do we drop in the ratings? 10th, 11th? I mean, I hadn't really thought about it. If they were third, I don't think they go out of the top 10. I think that would be unfair. I would assume 6th or 7th. I would assume no worse than 8th. But I'm just guessing. Craven, Dabo knows what he's doing. Let's face it. He built a machine that is Clemson now, and I don't think he's planning on letting it slide anytime soon. He is a competitor at his core. I agree, Tiger Paw Craven. What some people say, well, be thankful. I am extremely thankful for where Clemson has come. We're here because of where Clemson has come. We're in this conversation because you know what? 10 years ago, nobody cared to do a live stream about Clemson. I mean, we'll say 15 years ago, maybe 10, maybe, but live streaming really wasn't a big deal. But, you know, Tommy Bowden years, nobody was going to do it streaming back then. If streaming was popular, you wouldn't get live streams about a Tommy Bowden team. You wouldn't get live streams about the first couple of Dabo Swinney teams. Creating these elite teams, winning national championships 2 out of 7 times, or, you know, however many times he's been to the playoffs now, has created an expectation. It's like when I'm in sales. It's what have you done for me lately? It's a sales mentality. And that's not a negative thing. That's just part of the process. That's part of the environment. When I was in sales and I won the sales record for that quarter for my team, the team won it, not me specifically. As a supervisor, my team was number 1 for that quarter. You know what my senior manager told me? Congratulations. What are you going to do next year? Or what are you going to do next quarter? Can you do it again? You know, I got an award and a pat on the back and a free dinner. And it was, okay, what are you going to do next year? And then when my team didn't win that next quarter, it was, what's wrong? What's the problem? Guess what? That's life. If you're a fan and you don't understand that, I hope you're not in sales because they'll eat you up, man. I mean, again, like Tiger Paw says, this machine is built. I don't think there's any reason to not be disappointed. Need Ben Boulware back? Debatable. I think the linebackers are stacked. I don't think you really need another linebacker. Honest, Clemson had never had an elite O-line. We won 2 national championships with grit and playing a huge chip on our shoulders. We definitely have one now. They won 2 national championships with an elite quarterback too. I almost won 3 because of Deshaun. If it hadn't been for that onside kick. Remember those Tommy West years? I don't want to. What position group did Brooks coach? Was it a tight end or linebacker? I don't know. Dan Brooks. Was it Dan Brooks? I remember him. This was expected. Big Mick gets in. This was expected. Every year, this offense install timing has been off, beginning with Taj Boyd. The offense is just difficult, and it takes a few games. That doesn't make it any better. That doesn't make me feel better, Mick. Well, then you don't need to be scheduling Georgia. You sure as heck don't need to be scheduling Oklahoma. Fans get in and say D-line is what the Dan Brooks coached. Again, why does it have to be that complicated? You know? And also, it doesn't take. It's not offensive scheme. If you're just talking about offensive scheme, okay, but there's still other problems. Craven, exactly, Morgan. That's why I go back to always talk about what's next. To take a quote from Dabo. This is the way we. This is why we are the way we are critical, and I'm constantly going to question because I don't ever want to go back. Don't ever want to go back. I don't want to go back. I'm very grateful. You got to be grateful for the defense. You got to be grateful for the defensive line. You got to be grateful for Makuba, Booth, Skalski, Spector. A lot of Clemson fans talking crap about Spector in preseason. Why is he playing over Bentley or somebody else? He had a bunch of key tackles, and a key interception. I don't want to hear anything about Spector. May not be a fancy name, but boy, I said that real country. Fancy. Trying not to sound that way. Marcus Cameron, Elliott didn't help DJ at all. Yeah. True. Tiger Paul Craven says they replaced Dan Brooks with Todd Bates. Excited for Trey Williams. I think I'm appreciative of you getting in his name because number 8 was a force last night. Number 8 was definitely a force. A lot of good stuff. I mean, Ngata. You know what? I had called out Ngata on a few live streams and said, hey, you're the 5-star guy. Where have you been? You've been injured and shown us nothing. And he was the only bright spot in the wide receiving core. And you can tell, to be honest, Will Shipley is fast and going to be dangerous. You can tell. Is it there yet? No. We know it's not there yet. We know it's not where we want it to be. Fred Davis, too, unfortunately, made a bad decision. WB2, I know you've been on for a while. I mean, I've said, I'm just, that game didn't convince me anything about Ross. I don't know. I don't have confidence in him playing slot position, and I don't have confidence that him and DJ are on the same page at all. Big Mick, the defense was not the problem. The offense was not in sync, and DJ's confidence was shook. I think he will learn to trust his reads and not hesitate, trust his teammates as well. It's not over. I agree. Let it out, man. Make sure you like this video. You get on to our Facebook page. If you're not on our Facebook page, get on our Facebook page and follow us. If you hate Facebook, stay with us on YouTube and subscribe with us. And I'm on Twitter at The Morgan T Show. And again, every Thursday night, 7 p.m. on 105.5 The Roar. That's where we do our live show with my other friends. Craven, I like something you said earlier, Morgan. It might be worth looking into moving Shipley to the slot. I'm not saying that he's lost his slot job. It's talking about Ross, but didn't look good. D played well, just got 0 points off 2 takeaways. That's true. Could not capitalize. I hope to see Troy Stellato more. Need a true slot. To me, like, I understand freshmen need to figure it out. They need to learn. But why can't you say, hey, Troy, get out there and freaking run a slant across the middle of the field. You're going to go out there for one play and run a slant across the middle of the field every single play. Just do that. Just call a play that forces your slot receiver to run across the middle of the field, and then just put Stellato in there. I mean, it can't be that difficult to go ahead and tell him what to expect before he gets on the field. I mean, I know that Clemson has done it before with their speed outside guys. Like, same thing with Joe. I was surprised you didn't see Joe. Them just say, hey, Joe, go to the back of the end zone, let DJ throw it up to you. He wasn't on the field. I don't even know how many snaps he got. I'm not thinking very many. Man, I really appreciate the support. 32 people still watching. We had as many as 50 people watching. Again, it's just one of those things, like, it's good to have a loser support group. Just get it out. Say the ridiculousness. I hope that you don't feel like that I have knocked you for anything that you said, even if I don't agree. To be honest with you, I'm the fool that went on live radio and said 49-28 Clemson. So I'm there with you. And I've got to go back on the radio this Thursday, and I'm sure that Georgia fans are going to call in and give it to me. I mean, if you watch Ross, he was frustrated. The ball was late and low. DJ did not want to lose the game, but he did not give his best to win. This team is better than this performance. Oh, 1,000%, Big Mick. Way better than this performance. And I do feel like, to me, it's kind of like in basketball. When I played basketball and I make a bad pass or somebody passes to me, I make a bad shot, and you can tell that your teammate is like, look at this dummy, ruining the game for us, ruining that possession for us. And they're just like, ugh. Well, especially if you're a young quarterback, you see your wide receiver throwing their hands up, expressing outwardly their frustration. You got to think, hey, I'm not going to throw it to you again if you're going to act like that. Or, hey, maybe I am going to throw it to you again. Maybe you're not thinking that. Maybe you're just frustrated even more, and you get even harder on yourself internally, and you're like, I got to make another perfect pass. And you just end up hurting yourself all around. Tiger Paul Craven, look, I'm just a fan and definitely not an XO guy. Me neither. But if you're telling me some of the freshman O-line are not better than what we put on the field, it's sad, and we need to evaluate our recruiting. I think across the board, though, Georgia's not playing freshmen. Alabama's not playing freshmen. There's not very many teams that are willingly playing freshmen, and Clemson played the best freshman that they have that's remotely ready, and that is Marcus Tate. So, I mean, Christopher Perez gets in freshmen and sophomores on O-line, QB inexperience. They will be a much better team in November. Well, like I said, Chris, from the very beginning, you got 11 games to prove it. 1 game down, but 11 to go. Big Mick, Georgia has nothing to brag. Clemson beat Clemson. They did not beat us. Well, you know what Georgia's going to do? They're going to say, which is what they did when they got in here. They're going to say, well, if we had all our players, we would have killed you. And just don't let them do that. Don't let them do that, because that's a bigger what if than anything. I mean, if Clemson had Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne, we would have killed them. You can't go off of what ifs is like who could have been on the field. Hopefully this is the last loser support video for the year. LOL. You're no fool, Morgan. I think the whole nation was surprised by our offense. No one wants to play an angry Clemson team moving forward. Hey, I hope this is what happens. I don't think that Clemson is the best number one team. I don't think Clemson plays the best as a number one team. I think Clemson plays really good as a number 4 team. You know, they need motivation like that, because that's how Dabo Swinney coaches. I don't think Dabo Swinney is as much of a wheelhouse in underdog as he is as being the favorite. In this case, he was the favorite. All right, well, it's been 3 hours. It's been 3 hours of a live show. And I'm kind of sitting on the edge of this couch. And to be honest with you, my bottom is hurting. But and so I'm about to jump off here, fellas. Caleb gets in. He's obviously a Georgia fan here, maybe. But Caleb, Georgia didn't beat Clemson. They had 7 sacks, a muff punt, threw an interception, missed a field goal, and the game still didn't feel close. You know, Caleb, if you don't understand, we are in a loser support group. And so anything that could be said in this chat room is really not for winner support. So if you're a Georgia fan, you should go to winner support group. So Georgia fans, go to winner support group, enjoy, have fun. You know, you, on the other hand, really like, I understand. I'm not agreeing or disagreeing with you at all, because the better team for that night won. I mean, it's clear. Did Clemson beat Clemson? Yes, in some ways. You got to understand where that fan is coming from. And believe me, I'm sure you've had loser support groups post South Carolina games, post SEC championship games. So I know you understand too. Yes. And so he gets in and says, wishes everyone best of luck. Don't mind that, but be fair. We've been on the losing side many times, and I still feel safe here. Well, yeah, no shade, Caleb, from my end either. Again, you know, I'm with you 1,000%. Hey, let me get in a Tiger Paw Craven with another tip, $4.99. Thank you so much. Shout out to the last loser support group, the last one, the first one and the last one of the year. Hopefully, if we do one, it's in a very important national championship game. And I don't even want it to be then either. WB2 says 3 hours. Say what? Yeah, my tushy is hurting. This couch is from Big Lots. Yeah. I mean, I'm not over here with some premium Sam's Club couch. Wishes the best of luck. Caleb just happened to hop on. Sorry about that. Don't know. Be glad. Hey, Caleb, no shade for sure, man. I was more or less picking with you for sure. But again, you know, have fun, man, and continue to hopefully have a good season for the dogs. My aunt was a Georgia Bulldog grad, so not a hater on the dogs. Big Mick, I will say it was not the play calling, that it was execution. Well, Dabo said it was the execution, because that's the thing you got to understand about play calling is we don't know the plays. It's not Madden where we see it up on the screen. We're not told it. We don't have an insider. I mean, it'd be cool. It would be cool to have an insider radio like they have at NASCAR. It'd be cool to have like a pit lane, you know, sideline radio. You know, like Montana 34, 65 on 3. Let's go. Or, you know, I mean, like That'd be kind of cool. I wouldn't even know what that meant, but it'd be kind of cool. But it was execution. I mean, it was definitely execution with the pick six. They came out and said that it was an option play. Ross is supposed to turn and stop and make a decision to either stay in that position or go to the outside. And he kind of lackadaisically ran a slant. Made no sense to me. But that wasn't the only play where Ross looked clueless. But the fact that Dabo said, I'm just happy he's out there, that's him being a dad. That's him being a dad. That's him being a good father, good dad figure, father figure. Papa Dabo, I would not agree, though. I would rather you not be on the field if you were clueless. But it was nice to see him play after we were all scared he would never play football again. So, hopefully Ross will learn from this and improve. And hopefully DJ and him will maybe become roommates, or maybe DJ maybe needs to take him out to Moe's or something for a couple of lunches, couple of dinners, and figure it out, man. It's not hard. You know what they say in the Army? Your heart follows your stomach. You'll go into battle as long as you have a full stomach, man. DJ needs to take him out to eat. Big Mick, I will say it's not the play calling execution, but with 7 sacks, interception, muff punt, Georgia only scored a field goal on offense, but good game. Yeah, both ways. It goes both ways, Caleb. Goes both ways. Make sure you like the video. If you're on Facebook, like it. I don't see a lot of people in the Facebook comments, though. It seems like a lot of YouTubers now. Maybe all the Facebookers have fallen off. You know how Facebook goes with their algorithm, kind of crazy. I really do only see YouTubers commenting now. So I guess everybody's YouTube. I got 36 is what I'm showing. But again, it's past the 3 hour mark, which is as far. I mean, if I go to 4 hours, that's Walt Deptula hours. I mean, this is Quack and Kelly only do 3 hours a night, or day. So I'm going to go ahead and end the show. I'm going to go maybe watch some Formula One, maybe do some yard work, spend some time with my family the rest of Sunday. I really appreciate you guys joining in. If you haven't already, make sure you like this video on Facebook or YouTube. Make sure you subscribe, hit the notification so you get it. What I like to do, again, I have a full-time job, but what I like to do is on my lunch breaks or after work or the morning before work, do a 5 to 6 minute video of something, a thought or an article of the day. And I try to do those like once or twice a week. But then again, every Thursday night is our live show. It's me, Big Alan Adams, and Houston Burnett. We all talk Clemson football and anything else that's, pertinent for the week, but mainly Clemson stuff. And we're going to do it from the studio in Bronx Studios in Greenville, South Carolina, but also on 105.5 The Roar. So again, if you're in the upstate, 105.5 The Roar, 97.5 if you're in Spartanburg. Or they have the app. If you just go on your app store or Play Store, it's The Roar, 105.5 The Roar, and you can listen on the radio. But if you would prefer not to be on the radio or listen to the radio, you can always watch us on Facebook. We're on our live show. We're live on The Roar's Facebook. We're live on my Facebook, and we're live on this YouTube channel. So check us out. And then if you're a Twitter, if you're in the Twitterverse, at The Morgan T Show, at The Morgan T Show. Go check me out over there. Again, I just tweet about Clemson, whatever else. I hope you enjoy this. I hope you subscribe. I hope we have more people that can continue to join us. And again, as always, Tiger fans, we'll see you at the top of the hill.